What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Knackers, and today is motherfucking August 23rd, 2020, and this is episode number 126. Tonight on the show, as usual, we have the beautiful and bald MiddleAgedStream. What's good, buddy?
What's crack-a-lagging?
Hey, it's good to see you, buddy. And BishopGP, how you doing? Oh my God, the GP in your name actually makes sense now.
Yeah. It's actually it has reasoning. Yeah, gold pieces.
I think I've had my voice changer on that entire intro
Did
on
you?
accident.
It wasn't.
Dude, I looked up and I saw Mike Channel 3 bouncing. I thought, oh God.
Oh
Fuck.
God.
That was 110% an accident. It's good to see you guys. Bishop, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's nice and sunny still in Portland, so I just have my window open, no lights needed.
That's actually kind of crazy. I really thought that you would have had lights on.
Yeah, what's crazy is it's the same way in Flight Sim too, you know? Like it's sunny out in Flight Sim. I don't know how they figured that one out, but
Flight Sim has been going to town these past couple weeks, years, past couple days.
Just a couple
Hey, isn't that
decades
free
of
with
Flight
Game
Sim.
Pass?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yep. It's
I think
free with
it
Game
is.
Pass. It's 300 gigabytes to download though.
Holy
So,
shit.
yeah, it's a big game. So they initially have you preload 250 gigs, and then they do another 90 gigs that takes like 5 times longer than the 250 gigs. So I don't know what's going on Azure, but it's like I have no idea why that takes longer. Maybe they're just smaller files.
There was
I don't have that kind of room on my
No, you need
hard
an
drive.
SSD dedicated just to that bad boy. And on top of that, you have to stream. So like you get the game, but all the map data is streamed to you. So within like playing for 10 minutes and flying around Portland, I streamed 5 gigabytes worth of data to my computer. Yeah, it's like you have to have no data cap or else you're screwing yourself completely.
There was somebody on Twitter that was complaining about the file size, and then Epos Vox replied to him and said, dude, they took the entire world, captured it in HD, and made it flyable. Stop complaining. Which is
Yeah,
like,
it's only 300 gigs.
it is true. That is fucking massive. So I'm assuming with it being a simulator, how long it takes you to fly in game is how long it takes you to fly in real life.
Yep. Yeah, it was
I asked
like
the same question. Who wants to farm virtually versus who wants to fly virtually? But there's people out there that do, you know?
Yeah, I enjoy like flying around. Like I've gone to every single house that I grew up in, like different houses that we lived in. Everywhere that like I've had an event happen, I flew past it, and it's all there, which is really, really, really cool. It's cool to like conceptualize. Like you can see all this stuff on Google Maps, but it's cool to conceptualize the distance with speed, like between point A and point B, like how long it takes to get there. But I flew from my parents' house to Las Vegas, which is a drive we used to do all the time. And everything's there. Yeah, I mean, it takes just as long if I was going the speed limit, but obviously in a jet, it only takes like 30 minutes when the drive's like 4 hours. But yeah, every single little tiny detail is there. It's incredible. It's not like between cities, they like scale down the distance. It's like complete. Everything is there.
Wow. Now, what sort of commitment do they have to keeping the landscape updated? Like when when they're adding new things or things are destroyed?
Right. So I think there's a bit of out of date stuff within Portland. Like the building that I currently live in doesn't even exist in the game because it was built recently.
Okay.
But I know that their commitment, that from what I saw in a video, I think it was something, or one of the top, I think it was IGN or something like that. But they mentioned that Azure is planning on scanning cities more and more often, and then uploading the data because it works off of Bing's map scans. So basically they're going to continuously scan the map, which is why the 300 gigs is just for like the base model of the Earth, and then they're streaming all of the city data to you, so they can actually replace the entire Earth within minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe not minutes, but yeah.
That's crazy.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah. I'm excited, dude. Honestly, it's if you have Xbox Game Pass, it'll take you like 3 months to download it. When you get it downloaded in 3 months from now, or like over the time that you're sleeping, play it and like fly past all of your houses and everywhere that you've lived, and you're like, holy shit, that's where that was. Oh, that's where that happened. Oh, this is like, I was getting like visual flashbacks while flying over cities that I lived in, and was like, oh, that's where I went to dinner with my mom and dad. Oh, that's where, I played soccer. That's where.
Oh, that's where I lost my virginity to my babysitter.
Yeah. Oh, there's Jimmy just out there on the football field gaming it up, brother.
VR support coming this fall. That's what I would be interested. Like if I was gonna give it a try, I would want to be sitting in my living room with the VR headset, crashing into shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. The crash simulation is pretty cheesy.
Oh,
but
I bet.
think the idea is that it is a flight simulator and not a crash simulator. Like they basically just black screen you if you crash into stuff. And I actually heard I was watching this streamer. I don't know who it was. It was just some random flight sim streamer. And he said, if you want to play a crash simulator, buy a computer from Walmart and try playing this game.
There you go.
I was just like, okay, man, you got it on that one. That was pretty good. So no credit to him because I can't remember what his name was, but original content.
What's the car racing game that's all you're supposed to do is just try and rack up as much damage as possible by crashing into shit?
Burnout. Yeah, Burnout. Yeah, they haven't made one of those in a while, but that was a game.
They remastered Paradise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, those games were
that
epic,
was
man.
fairly recent. I want to say that came back out.
Yeah, I think it was this generation of Xbox. I'm pretty sure it's on the newer Xbox. But yeah, I'm really excited. Like once you play this game, you'll figure out kind of which cities have and haven't been laser scanned. Some of them they use like road maps and everything, scans from cars. So like what you would see when you're on Google Earth, looking up at the building. So you have all of your textures are like perfect. Like pretty much every detail is built into the cities, and then you have some that aren't as they're basically using height maps from above. So some of the cities are a little bit janky, but from a distance they look amazing. But what I'm really excited about is when Jimmy. What's funny is I'm watching the wavelength right now. It is super
I know.
to close it down.
I keep looking over it every time. I'm like.
The wavelength is freaking me out. Knackers had us install Audacity on our computers, and it's freaking me out. I'm just seeing wavelengths. But what I'm excited about.
What the hell are you talking about?
That's right, because we were talking about this while we were trying to get his attention in the pre-show. Remember?
Yeah.
Were you guys trying to get my attention?
Yeah, I was waving at you.
Did you have the cameras up? Could you see us?
No, so you, up until the show started,
It's
you're
a simple
only
yes or no
over
question.
here. No.
I'm going to take that as a yes.
No, because I always, in order for me to see you guys head on, I have to open up an OBS to NDI the webcam capture from Zoom over to my main PC.
I think he intentionally makes everything super complicated on purpose.
How-
I really do.
How am I supposed to look at you guys straight on if you're coming from my streaming PC? How am I supposed to get you to my main monitor?
I'm just saying that the way you do things, it's complicated.
I do it for the community.
You do it
I'm
for
glad.
everybody.
No, I'm glad that you can. I have it. I have a single PC setup, so I don't have to deal with all that rigmarole. I just hit
must be nice.
open thing and go
Just
there.
turnkey solution. I was going to stream today, and I was going to play Banjo-Tooie on the N64, and I got it up on OBS with my camera. Yeah, I was about to do this today. And I was looking at my webcam, which is 16:9, and I was looking at the gameplay, which is 4:3, and I had all this empty space, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm done. Like I'm not building an overlay. I'm not doing this shit."
Yeah,
I was literally
kind of have an overlay for retro 4x3 stuff.
If you want to make it as easy as possible, okay, this is always what I do when I play retro. You take the game, you pin it to the left side of the OBS preview. You put your camera up top in the right, and you drag it until it fills, until that's the game and your webcam meet. And then you do an OBS. You take a wallpaper, and you fill that up with the empty space in the bottom right, and then you put chat. And then you've got your overlay.
Yeah, that's what I noticed with within a bunch of the retro games is that's literally, it's like one square for your camera, chat, and then gameplay. And that's how they fill the space, which is pretty smart. But I'm the kind of person where like, if it takes any amount of effort like that, I want to do it as best I can. And like, I like hate doing things like half-assed. I would rather do it like really, really poorly than do it half-assed. I
went
feel like
through about 10 separate retro overlays before I finally settled on what I'm using now.
Yeah.
Bishop, you just admitted to having the same exact mindset as people who don't get into streaming. Oh, it's going to be perfect. If I'm going to do it, I need it to be exactly. That's what you just admitted to.
True, but I think the biggest differentiation is that I can do the work to the highest standard. That's like the biggest difference.
Fuck
Most
all you
people-
noobs.
yeah, fuck all you guys. But it's because I can make the graphics. So like I'm like, oh, I know what it actually takes to do that. And then I'm thinking through, like I was wanting to stream today. I woke up super late because I stayed up late. And I wanted to stream today, and I was like, okay, so I have the podcast at 6 p.m. my time. It's like 2:00 now. Okay, it's gonna take me like an hour to make these overlays. Is it really worth my time? And I was just like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna sit and hang out and do nothing.
I've done
And
that.
that's what happened. Yep.
Where you,
But I'm
you
happy.
sit down and you're waiting. You're like, okay, I'm ready to go live. Ready to go live.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what's on my YouTube recommended page? Just let me check it out and see what's
fuck
there.
it. Let's just watch it. Let's just watch a Top Gear video from '98 and just sit back and hang out. Yeah, that's happened way too many times.
Let me watch all of the fucking highlights from the Rocky Balboa movies, from 1 through fucking 6. That's actually what I did before the show went live today.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
So you're motivated?
Yes.
No,
Oh.
opposite.
Really?
Thought if you watched a Rocky movie highlights, you would get motivated.
No,
Is that what you were going with there, Bish? Is that what you were implying?
So the opposite effect happened. Like any workout
you got
motivation video.
demotivated?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, maybe he lost motivation. It's
You
like
should
every
watch-
workout highlight video has clips from Rocky, clips from every boxing movie that's come out recently. Like the Michael B. Jordan movie that just came out, I think it's Creed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like Sylvester Stallone and like a bunch of guys in the gym. And that's like what their workout video motivations are. And,
It's
and
honestly-
Knackers watched that and he's like, huh, this isn't for me.
I'm ready to go. It's crazy how long they milked that franchise for. It was 6
Yeah.
movies, then Rocky Balboa, and then Creed 1 and 2. Like, holy shit. It's a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people. I mean, Rocky's got a. I mean, he's been part of pretty big part of pop culture. The story of Rocky for some time. So,
Oh, yeah.
I can see why they would want to keep that alive. I mean, it goes into what we were talking about last week and sequels, or are they getting? It's more of a sure thing.
I would say that they did a pretty good job with all of them. There's a couple in there, they're a little bit weaker than others, but like, I think from a non-film critic standpoint, I think a lot of them did really, really good. Like a good job of storytelling.
Yeah.
There's a bad guy. They're going to punch and fight at the end. There's going to be a loser and a winner. Yeah, that's pretty in-depth. I would say.
Original. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? They don't need the good thing. The thing that you can say about Rocky movies is that you'll never see a video where it's like, where are they now for Rocky? Because you know where they are because they're going to continue making movies.
Yeah,
You
they're
know what I mean?
filming. They're filming
Yeah,
the next.
they're
it's-
filming the next movie, so you don't need an update. So yeah, the YouTube top 10 list video or channels, you won't see one of those for Rocky.
What are you drinking tonight, Bishy?
This is a Italian White Russian gelato Oreo espresso liquor Stoli vodka. Congrats to Jimmy on beautiful Battletoad. This is from Casey. Congrats to Jimmy on a beautiful Battletoad win. Congrats to Knackers on beautiful smash burgers. Pee pee poo poo check.
Pee poo pee
Pee-pee
poo.
Pee pee poo poo
Pee
check.
poo.
Oh, Casey, you're the best. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So, I was too glossed over by the compliment. Can you read
Yeah.
what the ingredients of the drinks were again?
Okay, so it's an Italian White Russian, question mark, gelato, Oreos, espresso liquor. By the way, the gelato is homemade. Gelato, Oreos, espresso
Jesus
liquor,
Christ.
I hate
Stoli
you so
vodka.
much.
Amazing.
I feel
Vodka's
like she
kinda
had to she had to put the compliment at the bottom because you guys are so jealous right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
And how does it taste?
It like a Oreo milkshake
Awesome.
without a liquor in it, which is dangerous.
It
It doesn't taste like the liquor's there.
I do love White Russians. Those are some of my absolute favorite. It's like
Here,
it's like an easy
you can
guilty
appreciate me
pleasure.
drinking it in front of you. That'd
God
be
damn it. Through your fucking Starbucks straw. What is that?
a little milky. Yeah, it's a Starbucks straw. You
Is
see
it
this?
really?
I got the whole. Yeah, I think so because we went to Starbucks.
It's
Rob
I'm
the Starbucks.
assuming Casey cut it to size for the cup, or else it would have looked very disproportionate.
Yeah,
God
she's
damn it.
detailed.
Of
Detail
course,
oriented.
of course she did. Of course she did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy, what do you got in your cup?
So I got a 512 pecan porter.
Ooh, nutty.
Depends.
They're pretty good, man. I've had them a few times, but I was telling you earlier because last night I was drinking. We had a community night stream, so the drinks were flowing playing Jackbox games. You know how that gets.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very glad that I didn't have any more whiskey in my house because If I had, it would have been a very long day today. So it was already long enough with sweating out and the loading stuff up. I had to get stuff over to my wife's work and my work today for our classrooms, and hauling around heavy plexiglass up and down stairs was not very much fun. But on the flip side, I did I sweated out all the booze I drank last night, I think. So
There you go. That's the way to do it.
that's the way you do it, man.
So I have a couple friends that I know that all live in Phoenix, and I don't think their temperature has, like, I don't think their high has been lower than 100 in a month or something. Something ridiculous. Has your state been that hot for that long?
Texas?
Yeah.
It's been pretty hot this summer, but not like, I don't know. We've had multiple days in the hundreds, but it's usually high 90s, low hundreds most days, like in the summer. Yeah.
Is this the first time you've heard of Arizona knackers?
No.
Is this the first time you've? It's every summer, man. That's why I moved from that place.
Yeah, Arizona's brutal. I used to live in
No,
Glendale.
I know it was brutal, but having your highs be over 100 for months at a time?
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, welcome to Arizona, brother.
Wait, okay, hold on a minute. Did you just try and shame me for living in the Midwest my entire life and not having knowledge of what the temperatures of Phoenix are like in the summer?
Yes.
Yeah. This is always headline news every summer. It's like wow, it's
everybody
so hot
in the not. I would
For
even
the
dare
West
say
fucking,
out.
why would I care about the fucking temperature
because
in Phoenix?
you need to realize
There's
your
other
privilege
places
with the
in the
cool
world
air,
besides
brother.
Michigan. You selfish asshole.
Okay, what is our record lows for Michigan winters?
Negative 18.
Record for your area, just record lows or average lows?
No, record. Let's
Negative
say
18.
how cold does it stay for weeks to months at a time in the coldest part of our winter? Just like in the highs of Phoenix, what would our lows be?
I don't know, like
Negative
10.
Are you saying you don't have a clear, concisive answer for the temperatures in a state you
Can
don't
we just-
fucking live in?
Just shut up.
How did you guys not know you were walking into that? You're like,
Whatever.
I wonder what the low temperature could
I
be.
knew where you were going, but I had to humor you because it's your show, so whatever.
Look, don't fucking pamper me, okay?
No, I'm not a pander. I pander all the fuck I want.
I said pamper.
Oh wait, hold on.
Pander.
I think
Panda
I do
Express.
know. I know about the cold weather in Michigan because Knackers cries about it every single winter when we're on this podcast. He just. It's too cold in my car. My car didn't start. Oh,
It was so funny.
Snowbank. Oh, there's
So my
snowblowers.
last summer when I went to Michigan, they actually had they had one day, and ironically, it was the day that we had that party at Jay's house, and it was like hot as fuck. Like it was like humid, hot, like 99, 100 degrees. I was like, what the hell, man? Because usually when I'd gone to Michigan, I knew they had hot days, but it was like a Texas hot day. But most of the time I've been up there, I mean, 80s, high 70s. I mean, it's never really been that bad. So that was.
I've never seen you in any less than like shorts, sandals, t-shirt. Like when you're in town, it's always been your attire, and it's always been fitting for the time of year that you visited.
Yeah, that's pretty much my attire year round.
They're in Phoenix, Arizona.
It's pretty much it does get chilly around here sometimes, but it usually doesn't last long. If there's a cold front, it might last for a week or so, and then it warms up again, and it'll go. There's days in the South, and you know this too, Ellie, because you live there. But
I'm informed. You can just say that.
You
That's
know.
fine. Yeah. I know about areas.
You went. It could go some days where it could be like 30 degrees in the morning or 20 degrees, and then all of a sudden it'll be like 80, 90 degrees at night. Or by the daytime,
Right. Yeah, there's nothing to keep the heat in, man. At night, it gets freezing in Arizona. Even during this, well, some days, like the majority of the days in the summer in Arizona are like, they're still hot throughout the night. But yeah, it's there's some like places in Arizona where it'll be like not just like Jimmy said, 90 during the day and then like 30 degrees or lower at night.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
That'd
the
be
difference
terrible.
That reminds me of a weather-related, somewhat comical story. Since
Please
Combat's
proceed.
bitching about this being a weather podcast now, I'm going to enlighten him. When I deployed to Iraq back in 2004, I arrived in July of 2004. As you can imagine, I actually didn't get to Iraq directly. It was Kuwait and then to Iraq. Well, when you're in Kuwait, they issue you like all this equipment when you get there, right? Like extra equipment for your time in the desert. And one of the things they gave to us was like these heavy duty like long johns and like sleeping bags, like heavy duty cold weather shit. And I'm like, is this a fucking joke? I'm like, I'm looking around for the cameras. I'm like, am I getting pranked right now?
Wait.
And
hold on, real quick. Are you saying that you were unaware of the weather in a part of the world that you've never been to before?
well, it's the desert, dude. I mean, do you think you're gonna need fucking mittens? You think you need to pack mittens to the desert, knackers?
I wouldn't think I'd be hitting 30 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona either.
Okay, so
Anyways.
anyway, to make a long story longer, I continued to pack the items and was joking through, and then naturally, I didn't think to pack some of these things when I went home for like a couple week R&R, and I came back in like the middle of December, and I froze my fucking ass off at night waiting to like get for the vehicle to pick me up from where I was, the flight coming back in. I had to sleep and wait there overnight, but there was like no heaters or anything.
Oof.
Dude, it was. I was sitting on this tent. It was like 25 degrees. I had nothing except my regular uniform and my laptop. I plugged my laptop in. I took the little transformer for the laptop battery, and I like stuffed it underneath my uniform, man.
With
I was
Crisis
just
running.
like, I was just letting it freaking run, man. Just sucking sand all up in my laptop. I didn't give a shit.
Damn.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
It sucked. Yeah.
You only had to do that for the one night when you were just waiting to
it
get
was
picked
just
up.
one night, and then I was like, wow, I guess that's why they gave us mittens.
In Arizona, I have a similar story where I was at a NASCAR race. It was like nice and sunny out during the day, and I drove my parents' SUV out there. And during the night, I was trying to stay over because all of my friends were out there, and I slept in the truck. And I woke up in the middle of the night like, I didn't realize how freezing cold
like how?
it got. I was literally,
One more.
it was like an hour drive home, and I shivered the entire way. Like it was that cold inside of the car that was, somewhat insulated. So Arizona's a stupid place. Don't move there unless you're an idiot.
It sounded almost like you just landed on your ribs on a counter or something. The sound it just made.
That shit still fucking hurts, man.
Yeah, dude, a cracked rib.
You cracked a rib, brother.
Yeah, you cracked a rib. It hurts. It's happened to me before. It took weeks.
Yeah,
to get over it.
I'm on week 2, and the pain has not dulled. I mean, it's dulled a little bit from the first couple days, but fuck. What an inconvenient injury. I think I'd rather have like my arm in a cast than to have a fractured rib.
You can't even
I would
cough.
absolutely. I've had both. I've had an arm in a cast. My right arm I've broken, and hands down, arm in a cast. I'd take it over a fractured rib.
Yep,
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Real quick, just what I've been drinking. This rainbow sherbet prairie.
Yeah, what have you been drinking, by the way?
Holy
we never
fuck.
ask you. We
I
never
told
asked
you it was
I feel
good,
bad.
dude. Remember, I had that a few weeks ago.
Bishop, I just want to let you know that I notice when both of you don't pay attention to me. Like, I constantly make mental notes when I'm left
Hey,
out of your
Knackers,
guys' fun.
what are you drinking tonight?
Thank you. Thank you.
What's your drink?
So quick story time. When Jimmy was here,
What?
when wait, what are you saying in that sound bite?
This?
Yes.
It's after an emote.
Oh,
But it's just
okay.
it comes out saying "mom gamo." It's like a mom the orgasm. Like the
Okay,
scene in
so
chat.
it's not English. I'm like,
No.
what is this
It's like-
thing that's being said?
Mom gummo.
It's like
dude, come on.
like you're giving your O face, like your oh yeah.
I
Is
like
that your
it.
O face?
That one?
That's
That's his
gross.
vinegar stroke.
Thankfully, I've never
That
seen
is a
my
vinegar
O-face.
stroke if I've ever seen one. Holy
I mean, have
moly!
you guys seen your O face before?
Yes.
No.
Jimmy's fucked under a mirror one too many
I've
times.
stared right into the eyes.
Into my
just
eyes.
To see. Just stared. Just like I got to assert dominance with myself.
I can't imagine.
Don't
it,
look
'cause
away. Don't look away.
Lock eyes.
I know what my O face sounds like. I can't even imagine what it looks like. That's probably why I always bury my head in the shoulder and head
Oh
like
my
nook
God.
cranny, so I can just muffle the sound. Oh. Anyways, one of the first times Jimmy came into town, and I don't think I had really locked on to sours quite yet. I knew that I enjoyed them, but anytime Jimmy comes into town, we go to our liquor store, and they've got a really nice selection. Well, there's this brand that's from Texas, right?
That's actually from Oklahoma. One of the only, in fact, that is literally about the only good thing that comes out of Oklahoma. True story.
I'm down with that.
That
Tiger
beer
King.
thing.
Tiger King.
Okay.
Was that also Oklahoma?
Two things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I
So
only know that
Prairie-
because I played Flight Sim. I flew over it.
Yeah. Ain't much there.
You're gonna know the weather all
If you're
over the
listening
world.
to this in Oklahoma, I'm sorry, but Oklahoma sucks ass. It does. Okay.
Prairie Artisan Ale's Rainbow Sherbet, sour ale with rainbow sherbet flavors. It's almost like you drink it and it's a sour ale, but then you were like take a breath and you smell sherbet, and it's This has got to be hands down one of my favorite sours ever now. So I went to the store and we got I got a wild sour variety pack, which I did not know that they had from Distill. And then I also got, which I actually don't like this one as much, the Vape Tricks by Prairie Artisan as well.
It's not as good. It's good, but it's not as good.
It's called Vape Tricks.
Vape Tricks. I'm probably going to go back
I drank
tomorrow.
that. I drank that on this podcast before.
That's the only
Both
reason
of
that I
them.
recognized it.
Yeah.
You know how they had the fridge that was just the sour beers, like in that one little fridge? On the very bottom, I saw that pink can. I'm like, that looks familiar. And then I zoomed in and it's just Prairie Artisan across the whole bottom row.
I wish that I knew exactly what podcast it was that I had that, because your response, Bishop, was the exact same response when I said
that
the
Vape
name of
Tricks?
the beer.
Vape Tricks?
Vape Tricks?
Yeah.
Vape
That's
Tricks?
sick, man. Freestyle vaping is probably one of the sickest things you can do. Blowing all kinds of animals. It's like what a clown would do with balloons, but using smoke.
What do you got against clowns?
Nothing. I love Bozo. Bozo is my single favorite element of your stream.
Ow.
Actually,
I hate
that was
clowns.
pretty mean. I hate clowns.
My wife
you know
loves them. Like, I had to force her to box them all up. Like,
Really?
I won't allow them in the house.
Wait,
no.
she like inside of your house, instead of like having like china, you've got
She has like these little
Clowns.
porcelain clowns, like these little porcelain. I mean, they're not like the creep, but they're still
she-
clowns. And I'm like, who fucking decorates with clowns, honey? Just no. And
That's a
so
little out there.
she took that. She respected that, and she packed them up. So.
she must have like the greatest personality of all time, because if I saw clowns, I'd be like, okay, that's it. Like that is a literal deal breaker.
That's a red flag.
I'm not saying that she had like I have these amiibos.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she only had like a couple of them, but there were a couple is a couple too many for me.
Yeah.
So I said, no.
One STD is enough. The amount of STDs that you have after the first STD do not matter. If you have one clown in your house, that's it. It doesn't get worse as
Says the guy with a
amount
clown over his left shoulder.
of one clown.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, but it's. I mean, you might
It
as
doesn't
well
get
have
worse
20
after that.
STDs now. You have the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
clown.
Listen,
Yeah.
do any of your clowns
That's the
have
analogy
tits?
you just made. You just basically said you might as well have 20 STDs. Weenie, are you listening to this? I hope you're not.
What's mine is hers. Okay, we made this agreement years ago.
Yeah.
You know what you guys should do for one of these podcasts? Like maybe right now, Knackers, hold the beer up to the camera and reach through the camera and hand the beer to Jimmy. Jimmy, on the next stream, get the same beer and then pull it out and drink it and then cut that together.
Or
That'd be kind of sick.
if I were to reach this way, okay, I'm reaching over and Jimmy hold up a beer on your end, okay. Yeah, and then
It's gotta go to the other
put it
side?
over
Yep,
the
yep.
side. Yeah, there you go. Keep going.
Yep.
Hey,
There it is.
Hey,
Oh.
it's magic. I mean, it's magic.
converted
You
from
guys are
bottle
sitting-
to
wait.
can.
You guys are sitting right next to each other?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Magic.
Wow, magic.
You like?
Wait,
you fucking like that?
Knackers.
Huh?
Wait, is this the right side? Oh, no, this is Jimmy. Jimmy, you want to grab this? Want to grab this?
Yeah.
real quick?
Oh, yeah,
go
hang
ahead,
on.
Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
Wait,
try and
wait,
fuck
grab
it up
this.
though.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
it's yeah, Mike's
yeah,
side.
right
There you
over
go.
there, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this up
Okay,
here, and you're
put
gonna
it
grab it.
up.
There you
Oh,
go.
I got it,
Oh,
I got it.
There you go. Nice. Oh fuck, I fucked it.
The audio listeners are going to be like, what the fuck are they doing right now?
Don't worry, there are no audio listeners.
I've been listening to this
Oh, okay.
podcast for fucking 20 minutes, and they've been talking about weather and Flight Simulator and fucking being in Afghanistan and Arizona, and they're the same
Iraq, not Afghanistan.
Oh,
okay?
Iraq.
Close. Not the
Iraq.
not the same.
Well, speaking of STDs, let's get into some of our hot topics of the night. The first one is one of Bishop's talking points. Feel free to lead right into it there, Bishy.
Dude, yeah, I was not prepared for this. I love this. I'm ready to go. I'm super amped about this. My first topic of the night, Fall Guys. Fall Guys, everyone's been playing it. I'm sure you guys have seen it. You've maybe played it. You maybe put it on your wish list. It's a good game. It's a nice little party game. I would compare it to like a Mario Party game, right? It's just a game that you get into, you have a good time, and it's a competition. You know, just like any board game or any game in the world, there's a winner and the loser. In this case, there's 59 losers and 1 winner. It's kind of like a BR, but it's really not a BR. And there's a bit of drama. I think it was probably 2 weeks ago now, about people that are getting too good at the game and taking it too seriously and trying to turn it into becoming like esports pros. And there's a bunch of drama on Twitter where people were like, hey, like this is like getting a little crazy. We don't need to take games this seriously. And then there's a few people, I think it was like someone from FaZe Clan responded and was basically making the argument that, it's like everybody gets a trophy sort of argument where it's like, oh, just because someone's beating you, like turning it into like a hyper competitive scenario where like winning is like the only important thing. And my whole subject was coming out of this, and it's, with multiplayer gaming and in the future, is this kind of like hyper competitive gaming esports try-hard world starting to ruin multiplayer games for people, right? Like the people that just want to casually play and have a good time. Is it creating a negative precedent where maybe you wanted to play Fortnite, but then you played it a few times and got shit on by 11-year-olds that are cranking 90s over your head one too many times, and you get bored of it, right? Like, what are your guys' thoughts? That was the subject. I was ready for it.
I'll dive into this real quick because I don't play a lot of multiplayer. In fact, I played Fall Guys for the first time today, thanks to one of my lovely friends and Nook teammates gifted me the game. Hell Hath Some Fury, who's in here right now. But anyway, thank you, Hell. So I got to play it for the first time today. And I played about 10 rounds. And I watched some other people play too. And apparently in like one of the games I was in, and more than one game I was in, there was someone who was hacking, and that was causing them to be able to get way out in front. And I know that can detract from those sorts of games for one. I think it's one of the reasons why I just don't play a lot of multiplayer games online is because of the toxicity that can kind of stem from playing multiplayer games. It's an unfortunate side effect of those types of games. With that being said, the short couple hours I got a chance to play it today, I had a lot of fun, even though I didn't even get to the final round. I made it to the third round one time, but I never made it to the final round. And I guess to answer your question, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. You know that. I think one of the reasons I don't is because the gaming community as a whole in the multiplayer world is often toxic, I have a hard time. I don't know. I just don't have as much fun as I used to playing multiplayer games. I don't know.
Before Twitch and before Twitter, before social media, let's think back to the first online games, with Dreamcast and PlayStation and Xbox Live. Without knowing what kind of content creator the person was on the other side, how would us as gamers in the same lobby decipher that the other person was a tryhard or was a competitive player?
If they were crouch spamming and teabagging after they killed you.
Okay,
that's
maybe,
like the only
maybe
way.
kind of like getting teabagged on.
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand where you're going. Yeah.
So there's nothing that happened in the Twitch world or the competitive gaming world that just spawned all of these people that wanted to be good at video games. Ever since the dawn of video games and multiplayer gaming, there has always been a certain breed of people that have wanted to be good, that have been competitive in nature. That's never been different. That's been the same for as long as video games have been around. So for like a split second, I understand where people like this are coming from, where they just want to play the game and they don't really want a challenge. But don't play multiplayer then, because that's the whole multiplayer. I mean, if you want a linear on rails, moderate level of difficulty, which you can choose experience, that's what single player is there for. You are able to go at your own pace. You're able to play at your own difficulty, and you can enjoy the game however you want to enjoy it. When you step into the multiplayer realm, stepping into multiplayer, the premise of multiplayer isn't even playing ground for absolutely everyone, and you're only ever going to play against people who are as good as you. Like, that's never been a thing. So it's kind of hard for me to sympathize, or rather empathize, with people who aren't having fun, because I'm somebody who's I don't want to say always been decent at video games, but I can usually hold my own in a video game, especially if it's a shooter. I'm usually kind of right in the middle. Not the best, not the worst. But that is the nature of video games. I mean, it's like having people go in and play sports and be like, well, don't take it too seriously. Like, don't be competitive. Like, don't try to win. It's like, but that's the whole point. The point of playing against other people is to come out victorious. It's the whole premise of multiplayer gaming. So it's kind of how I feel about it. Gotcha.
Yeah, and just to cap this off, because I know that it was discussed a little bit on Twitter and this and that, but I think what your point was great, Knackers, and I'll play off that a little bit. And Jimmy's, your point was terrible, just awful. So just
thank you. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
But I think the people that are getting frustrating at like when they want to just join a party game and have a good time, they start playing a game and then they're just playing with their buddies. And the value that's in these sort of party games like Human Fall Flat, and Mario Party and games like that, like it's meant to be like a fun, entertaining thing for you and your friends to do, or for you to do, and just have a good time doing, right? I think that there is a problem with like extremely competitive, like extreme competition within people trying to be the best in games. I think that sometimes that detracts from like the initial point of the game. But I think to go to your point about, people, having fun in games and competing, I think that if you're already queuing into a game and you're frustrated by the fact that there's someone that's tryharding or getting, winning and beating you at the game, I think that immediately points towards the notion that the person that's reacting to that, their metrics for entertainment in that game is that they want to win as well, right? And they're getting frustrated because someone else is trying really hard. Where if their metric was just to have fun with their friends, it shouldn't really matter what someone else is doing, right? Like it shouldn't matter that someone is really, really good at a game, or try-harding and winning every single round that they play. I feel like that is kind of an internal issue within the people that are judging those. Because they feel like their metric is just to have fun, but in reality, they're actually competitive themselves because they feel like by this guy trying hard, it's detracting from the opportunity of them having fun in that game, if that makes sense.
Can we stop and explain though? Because like from what I did today, now I was in a group Discord chat, so but that game doesn't have open comms, does it?
No,
all guys.
No.
Unless even if you team up, there's no like open comms or anything.
Nope.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know there's people that in that particular game, just like any other online game, there's hackers. You got to deal with that.
Yeah.
I think that some of the tryhards can maybe be the people holding and grabbing or being dicks in that game. But I mean, that's just part of the game. That doesn't bother me so much. I think there's just something about playing multiplayer games in general that it's the competitive, just because of the fact that they're competitive by nature, it brings out the side of people. Think about it like this, and I'll put this in an analogy that I think the listener will understand as well. Not that you guys wouldn't understand. Well, they wouldn't if you guys were explaining it. I'm going to explain it so you guys can understand. Okay. Fair, remember when you went to like Thanksgiving or whatever holiday you're celebrating, right? You're going to a family celebration pre-COVID, right, where everyone gets together and there's a bunch of people, and you got that weird uncle Mark that's like super fucking competitive. Whenever y'all sit down for your family game of Monopoly, he's like slamming shit down on the table. He's trying to trade the 6-year-old Billy for his Park Place, and offering him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's always that individual. And you're going to see that multiplied, of course, in a large online space. And so I think oftentimes the the loudest, sometimes the loudest, most annoying voice is the one that gets the most attention, even though they're not necessarily the majority. And I think that's why online gaming is that, and that's one of the reasons why I will probably continue playing some more Fall Guys, because I can just jump on and have fun, and don't have to worry about like toxic chat coming in from somewhere. Like this is a multiplayer game I can get behind. You know, I actually think it's silly that people are trying to look at a game like this like it's competitive esports, because I don't think that was really what it was designed for, really, at all.
See, you just brought up a great point, though. Your experience in the game is predicated on your attitude and your expectations going into it. And just like Bishop said, if you go in and you're like, oh, like I just want to have fun, but yet I'm getting angry at the fact that I can't win. Okay, what's your actual expectation? You can't have fun and lose, or you can only have fun and win? And that's kind of where I get into the conversation and I get a little agitated, because okay, let's say we have this perfect world where you can join a fun lobby. What's our solution to people being too try hard at a game? Do we change the culture so people aren't allowed to be good at video games and you can't try your hardest? I don't see what the alternative is.
Well, I don't even know how to even explain like try hardness in a game like Fall Guys, really. But I guess I would imagine people and knocking them down if you're excelling at I don't know, maybe, I guess. But
I would say, just to hop in real quick, Jimmy, I would say it's not enjoying the game, but then looking at the game for the specific metas of how to achieve and how to win, and then utilizing those metas throughout, and not like you're not playing the game for an entertaining reason. I mean, maybe your metric for entertainment is winning, but you're just going from A to B the fastest way, right? Like, so like the best analogy I can draw is like someone that it plays Super Mario is going to enjoy it for the experience, maybe the nostalgia. But there's still going to be guys that speed run the game that literally are skipping every single piece of dialogue. They're skipping the major pieces of content just to see if they can beat the game faster than someone else, right? So it's two separate communities. The guys that are enjoying the content for what it is are mad because people are ultimately are mad because people are skipping ahead of the credits and not reading any of the chat messages, or skipping massive pieces of content to beat the game. But in reality, they're not meeting the standards that the other person is putting on them for having a good time playing the game.
I know Knackers is waiting to say something. I can see his lips quivering. Go.
No, I was actually just trying to ingest what Bishop was saying, because I'm open to having my opinion, changed, right? So I'm trying to look at this at all sides while also considering a few things that I've seen in chat. I'm still thinking,
I think, like I said before, I don't play a lot of multiplayer. You guys know that, and that's because
you haven't beaten Battletoads in 30 days. So
right,
maybe now you can.
I haven't really played much multiplayer in a long time, man. Like the last time I regularly played multiplayer was like a decade ago. Since then, I've more or less been playing mostly single player games, and it's weird because it really kind of depends on my mood, and I had this game like Fall Guys. I had it on my wish list because it was like I can't even remember the last time I actually purchased a multiplayer only type game, And someone was kind enough to get it for me, and I tried it out, and I had fun, and I could see myself playing this game, not like all the time, but is it a game that I could see myself playing an hour or so like every week? Or like I could see, it's a fun game. I think it's more fun with friends though. Like it's a fun game to play with 3 of your friends in the same lobby, and you can, I think that's where it's at for me personally. I don't think I'd see myself sitting by myself playing Fall Guys trying to over and over again. It's just not. That's not my type of preferred gameplay.
Yeah,
you can make the same statement with any multiplayer game, not just Fall Guys.
No, true. To go back to Knacker's point, Knackers, you said, and maybe you can formulate a response to this, because you said previously, which I agree with you on this. Previously, we didn't have an idea if someone was a try-hard player, right? Like nowadays, we know if someone's try-harding. Like if I'm playing Rogue Company, the guy has TTV in his name, and I go to his stream and he's sitting there and he's like sweating over the keyboard trying to win every single match, like screaming. I know what that guy's personality's like.
Sure.
So I know that nowadays it's a little bit of a different environment from back when I used to play COD 4, like, and you had to really figure out who were the tryhards based on who was shitting on you. Like, if someone killed you 10 times in a row, you're like, okay,
This guy's a fucking tryhard. This guy nacho
Or
sauce
is
all
he
over his
just
chest.
good? Or is he just a good player?
Right. So I think that there's a bit of a differentiation nowadays because people see what happened with so like CS:GO, one of the most competitive games, didn't really have this opportunity where PUBG came up and it was new. People knew about this thing called esports, so many people hopped into PUBG to see if they could play at a competitive level. And then moving into Fortnite, Fortnite was the first big game where people were playing it to become competitive players. Like, they started streaming it just to become competitive players. Nowadays, like, Rogue Company or any new game comes up and you hear, like, I hear from the people that are my peers that are competitive players in many games. They're like, oh, I think this is maybe the game that I'm going to take and go pro with. And I think that it's a different
It's such
scenario.
a weird mentality
It's
to
a
me,
weird
man.
mentality.
It just sounds so
But, like,
weird
a
when
game-
you say it like that.
A game will be announced. I remember when Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty just came out, and they announced the BR. And I remember playing WoW Classic with this guy, and he's like, yeah, this is the game the second it comes out, I'm going to be grinding it because I think I could really put some time into, get into the pro scene. And I think as a whole, from like the community side, I mean, and this sounds like a dick thing. You can blow me up on
sorry.
Twitter. But most of these guys...
the phrasing on that. Did you hear what you just said?
No, what did I say? Did I say blow?
I'm grinding it real hard. I think I'm going to be getting it into the pro scene. I mean, pro is another,
Yeah.
young whippersnapper.
Yeah, I feel you. No, that was a good one. I thought I had to do something with or had something to do with me saying blow, but I good thing.
I mean,
didn't
that's
say
pretty
anything.
normal coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, or going into my mouth or coming out.
Yes.
Wow.
So
But yeah, so what do you think about that, Knackers? Because I know that there's a little bit of a different scenario with competitive games nowadays where people play them, and I feel like people play these games for the reason to become professionals in them or to be competitive at them because they feel like it's going to help them become bigger streamers and or more popular because they're competing in these games, and then they get signed by Cloud9 or by G2, and they think that that's going to help them in other facets of their life. But I feel like Fall Guys is one of these games where people are emulating that. Like, I've seen streamers that are literally playing all day long trying to get wins to like 2 viewers watching them in chat. One of them's their chat bot. And they're not doing anything to interact with chat. All that they're doing is playing the game and winning and then like formulating a better meta to win more and more and more. And it just becomes like this, like, I feel like people aren't watching that type of content anyways, but it is kind of a frustrating thing. If you just want to play a game and then all of a sudden you have a TTV guy shitting down your neck and like going on to win the game, I can understand why that would be frustrating. I mean, I played Fortnite, so I know what that's like.
I can absolutely understand why there are people that are upset with this type of gameplay because they either don't understand or they don't want to, they don't like competitive gaming culture. They don't, I know that there's friends that I have that we're good friends and we both love video games, but they don't like Twitch. They don't like streaming. They don't like what streaming does to people, how it blows up egos, how it creates this facade. Like, I know people that don't like streaming for those exact reasons. And I know that streaming being such a massive part of gaming, and having such a massive influence on gaming, that rubs people the wrong way because they feel like this safe haven that they've had for so long, which used to be like pure and fun and just organic with close friends, has now exploded into this spectator sport and this popularity contest. So
But that's not the case necessarily because there's still plenty of different games that cater to the other way. You know what I mean?
Fall Guys would not exist without Twitch.
No.
100%. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
so that's my point. And
Yeah.
so
I'm just saying the argument is what these other people saying about how, this was my thing. And like, you don't have to, there's
the
you don't have
gatekeeping
to.
aspect of it.
Yeah, you don't have to be involved with that at all. I
Right.
mean, you can still be into video games and not. But yeah, I would. You're correct. I'd be willing to bet that 90. I don't know. I'm just pulling this out of my ass. 9 out of 10 people probably watch have at least watched some sort of streaming content on one platform or another for video games. If you play video games regularly, you probably are involved in one of those platforms. I
Sure.
would bet.
Yeah.
So I want to empathize, right? I want to be able to understand where people are coming from. It's more difficult for me because, like when I play Rogue Company, I'm there to fucking win. I'm there to get better because me as a person, I enjoy being good at video games and I enjoy triumphing over other people.
Shitting on them. You can say that.
Lightly. Sometimes you get a little angry. Okay, so like last night we were playing Rocket League. Vance and I were down, I think 3-0. They kept giving us fucking what a save, talking shit in chat. We fucking tied it up. And then with 3 seconds to go, scored the final goal. And I never got so fucking toxic in my entire life. I'm like, yeah, you stupid motherfucker. You fucking like that. But you know that it was a little bit, just letting it out. Like getting calm, just letting out the energy. But it's really, I only get like that when I'm met with extreme toxicity in video games. Normally I try and be nice as possible, but I think one of the other issues is try hard gets used very, very loosely. Mm-hmm. And I think when people come in contact with somebody who's good at video games, you're a tryhard. Oh, you're good at this video game. You're shitting on me over and over. You're a tryhard.
It's like denounces their ability, right? It's like detracts from like the fact that they're better than you. You're just like, oh, well, you're better because you're a tryhard and not because you're actually better. You know?
Right. So that kind of bugs me a little bit too, because I feel like it's dismissive of the other person and their skill. I understand because I've tried playing Fortnite. And even with me being a decent player, like when I play Rogue Company, I can top frag, second place frag almost every round, right?
Can we play together?
Absolutely. Dude, I love that game.
Dude, I've been playing every single night.
Really?
I love that game. I love that game.
Okay.
What game?
Yeah.
Rogue Company.
Can I get Dallas?
Yeah, because I want Ronan. Ronan's my girl.
Sick, dude.
I'm gonna get some more beer. You guys talk about Fortnite and stuff.
Go for it. Yeah. The Zoomer games. If we need a retro or something, we'll call you back.
I
like
understand.
Frog jumping or whatever that game he was playing.
Frogger. Yeah, go back to your Frogger, Jimmy. I tried playing Fortnite. I streamed how many days of me just trying to get one win in Fortnite. And it's frustrating as fuck. Mm-hmm. But I don't have the stance of, well, they need to change Fortnite and how it works because in order to cater to my expectation of the game. So I see both sides. I really do. And I want to be empathetic because I know what it's like to exist in a lobby where you can't have fun. My final point is I think there is a significant misconception about what type of game Fall Guys is. Fall Guys is a griefing,
trolling,
King of the Hill battle royale one winner. Don't be mistaken by the funny wiener skins and everybody waving their rounds because they're so chubby and it's all cute because of all the no, it's a one winner game. Everybody is going to do what they are going to do to get to the end and be the winner. So I think that's kind of a big thing too. People go, oh, well, no, this is a fun party game. No, it's not. It's made to look like a fun little cute party game. It's not. It's winner take all out of 60 people.
Yeah. But you could say that exact thing about any game. Any game has one winner. There's no game that has multiple winners unless it's like a team sport, right? So I think that there's a clear differentiation in my mind between a game like Rogue Company and a game like Fall Guys, right? Like Rogue Company, I don't think that there is a fun part of that game for someone that is not competitive. Realistically, I think that if you've queued in, and I'm sure you have queued into enough lobbies, like you'll get a few decent players on your team. You'll have some good games, and then all of a sudden you get the fucking Cloud9 G2 Esports god tier legendary gamers with freaking Mountain Dew logos on their shirt. And they just show up and they're flanking and one-tapping, shitting all over your team. And you're just like, okay, we've got how many rounds of this, of me just having to get completely destroyed? Like, I feel like there's a differentiation between that in a game like Fall Guys where, yes, there is one winner at the end of the day. It's formulated similar to like a BR where you have many people drop in, but there's one ultimate winner and it slowly depreciates the amount of people over time. But I think it's like, it's still... there's mini games. There's still like the little fun elements, and part of it is just like this, the chaos. The game is just this big chaotic mess of a bunch of like noodle arm dudes crashing into each other and like running back and forth. And it's funny because like even if you're decent at the game, like the stupid things like if you jump but the people in front of you don't, you get hit by their carcasses and you might get knocked out of the game because of that. It's meant to be that big chaotic mess. I don't think that it's meant to have like, and people have different values when they play a game, like different metrics for success or for having fun. But Fall Guys, to me, it feels a little bit like Weird Champ when people are really, really like hyper focused on winning and are playing to the meta of whatever it takes to be able to win. And for me, at least, speaking from my own experience, I'm really, really competitive in games. You can ask Casey. When I play World of Warcraft in arenas and I'm fucking screaming with my teammates to kill, like, we're like making callouts. Any game that I play, I try to make it competitive. If I stream Fall Guys full time, I would 100% be trying to make it competitive. But the problem for me is that it's an easy game. Like, as soon as you understand the meta, the game isn't really that hard. Once you understand like how to get from point A to B and like what you have to do, it's not fun anymore. Like you're just competing against a bunch of other players. It kind of goes back to like Fortnite. Like people were comparing or saying on LinkedIn, of course, like the smartest people when it comes to esports are on LinkedIn. But they were saying that like Ninja was the most successful esports athlete of all time. I was like, dude, Ninja's dropping in with 90 other fucking 11-year-olds and he's shitting on these guys on Wii sticks and all this other bullshit and playing on controller, and he's just shitting on a bunch of kids that are trying to have fun in a BR game, and maybe there's like 4 or 5 other really hyper competitive people in each lobby, but like this is nothing. Let's be very specific. This is nothing between or compared to the competition at high level CS:GO or high level Rainbow Six Siege or high level any game that takes like has like a high level echelon to it.
Like the skill gap in Fall Guys compared to the skill gap in Fortnite or CS, like in a game like Rogue Company or CS. Ooh, look at him go. What does this shirt say? People need people. Oh, people need other people.
Oh, it's multiplayer. Oh,
that is an amazing shirt, Jimmy.
Let's clap.
People need other people to teabag.
We hate your shirt, Jimmy. Now that you have your headset on, stupid.
Why do you hate my shirt?
No, I said your shirt's amazing.
Oh, I could hear you. I could hear shirt coming out of my headphones, so I was like trying.
I was
trying
to figure out what it said. I've never been teabagged more in my life than in Rogue Company.
Oh,
people love teabagging in that game.
Yep.
So yeah, let's talk about Fortnite some more now that Jimmy's back.
Yeah, now that Jimmy's back.
I remember watching some PUBG streams of Jimmy way back in the day. There weren't many, but I was able to catch a few of them.
Dude, I was so bad at that game. I have a clip. It's one of my earliest clips. It's from like 2016 of like me getting a gun, shooting and missing a dude like right at the start of the game, and him just fucking knocking me out with a frying pan.
Oh my god, that's frustrating.
I was like, I couldn't help but laugh though. It's just like, shit. How do you reload?
I'm gonna get water and bathroom. You guys carry it from here.
Cool. There's still no party system in Fall Guys, right, Jimmy? You just kind of have to queue it up.
You can queue up with like 3 other people, like 4 people in a party. Because I did it today with 4 other people. So, 3 other people besides myself.
Okay.
So I think if they can expand that, that'd be great. Like I said, I don't really see myself streaming that game. But I definitely plan on playing it. It's a fun game to play with friends for sure. Like
Crocs and Hot Pockets Fall Guys.
I'd be down.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a fun thing to do.
Bishop's got his penis in his hand right now, and he just heard Fall Guys, and now he's spraying fucking everywhere. He's so excited.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna bet.
Try hard."
All right, I'm gonna study the meta. Yeah, I'm gonna study the meta.
I am the El Meta.
Fucking shit.
Why don't we get into your topic here while Bishop's taking a hot shit about missed opportunities?
So, I only had this thought the other day. I was trying to think of something to talk about besides Battletoads. So inevitably we'll talk about Battletoads because it gave me the other thought. But the new Battletoads just came out that they've been talking about that for years. It just came out on Thursday, right? And last week, just like a few days ago. So the new Battletoads came out, and it made me start thinking about how I thought it was just absolutely insane that in 2020 we have a game that's essentially a beat 'em up that doesn't have online co-op, a missed opportunity. And it kind of brought me to another talking point. Like, what other big missed opportunities have happened either in games past
Oh my god.
or games future? And I mean, we could go on this one for, I know you're ready. Hang on, pal. Okay. I see you got your. I like that you raised your hand. That's very good of you. But I thought that was a huge missed opportunity because I feel like that would, especially in the COVID era, like how are you? Unless you have people living in your house with you, how are you going to co-op play that game? You know what I mean?
It's not safe.
Yeah. So it made me think about not just for Battletoads and missing out on online co-op, but what other things have happened in video games that you guys may feel were like a big missed opportunity, whether it was a missing feature or something about a game in particular that if they had just done one thing, it would have made it a million times better. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this, as well as if you guys have a thought on this or wanted to ask a question about a particular game, please throw a question in the chat so we can answer at the end of the show.
Go ahead, Bishy.
Alrighty. Well, I think that one game, and Jimmy, you probably know a little bit about this because your son plays them a lot, is the Lego games are notorious for not having online co-op. They're notorious. I think Lego, Lord of the Rings, and Lego, I don't know if it was Star Wars or Harry Potter. Neither of those have co-op on PC, which is like, it's mind-blowing. I think this was one game that Casey and I wanted to play, and they didn't have online co-op. Neither does a game called Overcooked. The Overcooked 1 didn't have online co-op, and it was like, what the hell? They're like, this is like a party game. This is perfect for like a bunch of people playing it in different locations. Yeah, and it like completely blows my mind that it's overlooked, especially when you're planning on releasing your game on Steam. Steam provides the servers. Like, there's no reason not to have that built in, right? And I feel like it's just like a simple oversight. I feel like it's like the developers wanting people to be sitting next to each other for like that at-home experience. It's similar to like when a game that historically has couch co-op then removes it in place of online co-op, right? That's also frustrating, especially for people that
like Halo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like Halo did
Or
that.
did they do that recently?
Halo 5, I think they took that out. I'm not 100% certain.
Right.
I think they did.
Right. Where like my brother and I...
You can only play online co-op.
Yeah, my older brother and I used to go to Blockbuster Video, turn around all the N64 games, Xbox games, and try to see if it had the co-op option, right? Because you had like the line for how many players. It would said like 2 to 4, and then underneath it there was a thing for co-op, right? And we used to just look for games that had that, and we would pick them based on that. So I don't know if the day of couch co-op is starting to die, but it seems like for certain games it's frustrating that they don't think of that. It's kind of like another comparison that's similar but not the same. And my final point is it's kind of like Elder Scrolls games in Fallout games. Like, people have been dying and asking for a multiplayer option for RPG games that aren't an MMORPG, but just an option for people to join your game and walk with you, so you have company while you're playing your game. And it's like developers look at that and they're like, okay, so they want to be able to play the RPG at the same time. Okay, yeah. Let's just make an MMORPG. Let's just take our title and turn it into Fallout 76. And you can have 600 players in the same realm, and you guys can trade. It's
Get
like, no.
nuked.
We just want Oblivion or Skyrim or Fallout New Vegas. We just want that with like our friend next to us, and that's all we want. And then Bethesda looks at that and they're like, you know what? I think we have the right thing. And then at E3 the next year, Fallout 76, an MMORPG. We've got Elder Scrolls Online coming out. You asked for co-op and we're giving you an MMO. So I feel like it's like the developer looking at what's being asked, and they're like, okay, we can step this up. And then they kind of fuck it up instead of just giving us. But the people are like, hey, this is specifically what we want. We're like, oh, we don't know how to make that work, so we'll just make something completely different.
It's like when they put that announcement out. It's like the mobile Diablo or whatever.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Fallout
you guys,
76. Fallout 76
You
comes
guys
out.
want to play with other people? You always have your phone with you. That's easy. Let's make a mobile game that everyone's gonna love.
You guys don't have phones? It's funny
Yeah.
because they were like, okay, all right, what do the people want? We want co-op RPGs. All right, Fallout 76. Here's Fallout 76. The world burns down. Okay, they didn't like that. What else can we do? I got it. Let's release Skyrim for next generation consoles again.
With VR support, VR.
Yes. With that said, a lot of people that like Fallout 76 was like the most shitted on game since No Man's Sky. That game has actually really come around. Weenie absolutely loves it. I know a lot of people that play it that it kind of
Fallout 76?
Yep.
Oh.
They've actually added a lot of functionality
I'm sure
now.
it's way better than it was on release. It's just, again, like the point of me asking this question wasn't about the semantics of.
I got you.
The point is there a game? I'm not even saying if it's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like they're lacking online co-op or the lack of network play. That wasn't necessarily the whole question. It was, is there anything that maybe you played through a game and you thought to yourself at the end, man, what if they had had this? Or maybe there was something that you were, in this particular case, I think network functionality is something that prevents people from buying games. I know there's been a few times where I've wanted to buy a game and didn't because it was not going to have like a certain type of co-op feature.
The O in Nintendo stands for opportunities. Missed opportunities. And
Mario Party.
Most recently is Mario Party. I mean, all you had to do was give a basic Mario Party experience and just make people queue up online.
Yeah.
The only counterpoint that I have to that, and it's the only company that I've seen come out and say it, Towerfall, one of my all-time favorite couch games, does not have an online multiplayer. And they said because there would be no way for us to uphold the quality and the accuracy with online play. Like we tried, we actually developed the game to be played online. Every time people played online, hits were missing. It just wasn't the same. So I can imagine that is a thing in a lot of cases. Is when you're putting out a game, you have to consider what type of platform and what type of internet connection they're going to be playing on. Fusion Frenzy, one of my all-time
Xbox,
favorite party games of all fucking time. I think this is another case of we're not the target market for this type of thing. I think you're correct, Bishop, in that couch gaming is really, multiplayer couch gaming is going away. In the same way that arcades and even places like holy shit, the place that we used to have our LAN parties here in Michigan. Nobody is going to go somewhere and pay money to play on rented hardware to play a video game. Everybody has the power of a supercomputer in their pocket nowadays. And that's just, I mean, and of course with how prominent social anxiety and mental issues within gamers is, people most of the time want to be by themselves but still be able to play with other people as well.
Well, and especially now in the COVID era, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And so I get what you're saying, and I know that especially smaller developers, where like an indie developer that puts out a game like Towerfall that is very much Twitch based and relies on accuracy, like I get that. But we're talking fucking Rare, which is owned by Microsoft,
right? Like
they really couldn't have put. I mean, I get it. If you're gonna play at a harder difficulty, you probably don't want to play online co-op because of lag, right? But the you would need to be able to have more frame perfect responses. But you're trying to tell me on like normal or the tadpole, like the easy difficulty my son likes to play on, you tell me you couldn't have done that online? That's foolish. I just think that it's, I don't know. I don't understand game developers, man. Like sometimes I just think to myself, you guys, you make all this fucking money and you make some of the dumbest fucking decisions. Like I just don't get it. Like I know that a lot of the decisions are driven by money because someone's probably said, okay, we could develop this online. It'll cost this much and add this much to the development time, or we can not do it and let people bitch about it, but we're going to save this money and this is how many copies we expect to sell. They run it through a formula. Whatever comes out where they spend less money or they think they're going to make more money is what they end up doing. That's how those decisions oftentimes are made.
Right.
And whether they're deciding to add something to a game or cut something from a game, it all comes down to money. That's how most decisions are made. Most major decisions are economically driven, and you could apply that to nearly any aspect of life. As unfortunate as that is to say, it's true. Think about any major decision you've made in your life in the last year. Is money involved with it? Probably.
Am I going to join this podcast?
Okay, well that was Maybe not money involved.
The fruits of that labor will come way down the road.
Maybe lost income involved, right? But
Right.
I'm getting free
guys ever-
alcohol. I get alcohol free or served to me every Sunday. Because
Listen,
of this podcast.
okay. Before the podcast, how often did you get a unique crafted cocktail on a weekly
Never.
basis?
Never.
You're
Never.
welcome.
It's true. Thank you.
I actually, this has become a part of the podcast I've looked forward to. Like, I look forward to the little crafted drink you get with the little note that Casey's going to write a little message on there to us.
Yeah.
We
Here it
like-
is.
That's like a couple weeks running now. Like, now we have to keep it going. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like that it's just not a full show anymore.
We could make a fantastic compilation of just Bishop reading off these craft cocktails. And then
Scripted. This whole podcast is scripted.
it would be drink read and then a clip of Jimmy not paying attention and saying something I just said 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Cocktail, Jimmy, cocktail, cock, Jimmy, cock, Jimmy, cock, 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 cock. It'd be great.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, if neither of you have, I would say Mario Party is definitely one of the biggest missed opportunities. I'm struggling to find something else here on the spot, and I feel like that's because there's so many games that come and go, and
Yeah,
I'm like
for
trying
sure.
to place my mind on one. I will always think about Grav and the huge missed opportunity that Grav was, but we don't have to get into that again. But if you guys don't have any more thoughts on that, I think this is a perfect segue into our next topic.
Yeah.
And the segue was being influenced by money, and maybe making some not great calls, and then also it spiraling into outrage and cancel culture. So this next topic, you guys know that I don't love talking about drama just for the sake of touching on drama. This is something that I felt really passionate about talking about because of how emotionally invested I got in when it first kind of broke and like the feelings that I had when it first came about. Again, I love talking about these types of hard discussions because I respect both of you and your opinions, and I
don't
want to
respect you.
hear. I know that's all right. I don't pay you to respect me.
your delicious mustache.
I did trim it today. It was getting a little bit too long for my liking.
Touching your teeth just a little bit.
It'll be perfectly curled, and then I'll put a mask on for 10 minutes. I take the mask off, and it's Hulk Hogan all of a sudden, just like sweaty and moist and drooping. I'm like, all right, this thing's got to go.
You gotta add some good. You need some good balm to put in there, man, to keep it nice. And
That's with wax. I wax
really?
it every day, and as soon as you put the mask on and all the condensation from your breathing, it all just gets sad.
yeah.
All right, so I'm going to preface this topic with the story of kind of how it unfolded, and then I want to. So I doubt that both of you kind of know this story in its entirety. So I'm going to try to not be too detailed with my explanation. So there is a gentleman by the name of Harris Heller, and are you timing me?
Mm-hmm.
And he co-runs a YouTube channel called Alpha Gaming. Alpha Gaming is a channel that is dedicated to content creation and streamer education. Teach you about OBS, hardware, anything about being a content creator, content release strategies, blah, 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 blah. So recently, he put out a Twitlonger, the very known Twitlonger bait and switch, where in the tweet you put, "I'm so sorry, I need to come clean. Click this link to read the Twitlonger." You get to the Twitlonger and it's like, "I hate waffles," right? Or "I hate pancakes." It's something to just fucking get people in and
Right.
troll them. As many people know, with the Me Too movement within the gaming industry and sexual assaults, almost everybody used Twitlongers to come out with their stories on social media. So when he put this out, and mind you, he was not the first person to put out a Twitlonger in a joking way since all of this happened.
right.
He put this out, and then somebody said, a couple people said, "This was in really poor taste. I feel like you're mocking sexual assault survivors." And his response was, "No, not really. I just like using this joke that has been a joke for years and years and years and years, but because of all the recent stuff, it looked bad." So that was kind of issue number one. And how people kind of respond to that, everybody has their own opinion. he didn't necessarily take an apologetic stance right away, which I sort of kind of agree with, sort of kind of don't. We'll get into that. So on the other hand, you had somebody that quote tweeted him, kind of threw shade, and then Harris Heller called that person a clout chaser. Just like, okay, you're just using my strategy as at your expense. Another pretty well-known person in the community, basically, I want to say outed, but he pointed out that Harris's dad is a senator, and a pretty well-known senator for having some very anti-Twitch culture beliefs. NRA, anti-gay, anti-abortion, pro-life, a lot of the beliefs that the majority of people don't agree with. And then it came out that he had done some work for his dad's campaign. And while he doesn't share a lot of the same beliefs, he did some video editing work, created some commercials for his dad, got paid $50,000 over the course of 2 years, I think it was by the time. And now there's this massive outrage about how this person has a Republican father that has these super outlandish beliefs, and people just trying to tear Harris down because of his relation with his father. And I have a bunch of issues with a lot of this, but I kind of want to first get your take already, and then I'll kind of dive into some other thoughts that I have. This TwitLonger stuff. Yes, TwitLonger was used very, very commonly among all the sexual assault stuff. The fact that you can no longer use that in a way as a joke that it's always been used. The main part is people are saying like he was using that as to mock people at their expense. And I'm like, well, all of the people that came out with sexual assault stories, their taglines were always my story with this person, my experience with this person. Did not word it any way like that, did not bait people in the same exact way that other people were using to come out with their stories. And he's getting treated like he's trying to use that as a way to get more engagement. How do you feel about that? Is there a certain amount of time that should pass before you can use that joke again? There's hundreds of streamers that have been using that same exact joke ever since all of that came about, and nobody batted an eye. But as soon as it's somebody that is tied to a Republican father that has some iffy beliefs, it becomes a huge issue. So lay it on me.
You want me to go? Or do you want to go? I'll let Jimmy. Jimmy, go ahead. You go ahead. You're more grounded than I am.
Honestly, I just think it's a simple. It's a simple bad joke. Like this is an example of basically. You need to be aware. He's a guy who's got a pretty large following on Twitter, right? I mean, he's probably got. So this is kind of one of those things that if you only have a few hundred Twitter followers, it's never gonna. You'll get some laughs and whatever. But somebody who's already got a large social media presence, if you put something out there like that, it's like. I don't know, man. It'd be like making like a Holocaust joke at a damn, outside a gas chamber in Auschwitz. You know what I mean? Like, it's already a bad, not necessarily a great joke. It's just a bad. It was a bad timing and a bad situation, and people took that personally. So I get that. I probably wouldn't have made the same joke format just thinking. But honestly, I don't think he was maybe necessarily thinking it would be interpreted that way. I don't think this was a guy who was trying to solicit that. And so I could see why maybe he wasn't apologetic. But again, this is one of those cases where it's like, maybe read the room. I think once those complaints started coming in, my response would have been, hey, look, I didn't intend this to be this way. I understand why. People are upset, so I mean, and that would have been the end of it for me. I think in his particular case, maybe he feels like he doesn't need to apologize, or I don't know if he has apologized. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't. Yeah. So I don't see what the big fucking deal is. Honestly, I think that yes, sexual assault is serious. Yes, that's something that needs to be done. But I looked at the tweet that. the only association is the fact that it's the twit longer type format, you know?
My point.
I think it's just much ado about nothing, and this is what happens in social media when you have anytime you have large figures in social media, you're gonna have people that are gonna respond to that, and yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's one of the reasons why I will unfollow people or I usually don't mute. I just unfollow. Like if it's shit that like I recently, and I'll tell you out of the stream, there's a guy who I know you follow that you're a huge fan of, that I had to unfollow recently. Not because I like their content that they produce on YouTube and stuff, but like I just wasn't liking the stuff they were putting out on social media.
Yep.
So it has nothing to do with how I feel about them as an individual necessarily, but the things that people put out on social media will also determine whether I follow them or not. There's plenty of streamers that I love to watch. I love to watch some of their streams. Can't stand their fucking social media.
Yep.
We've talked about this before on this podcast. Like some people do not represent themselves well on social media, and I don't have time for that. I don't want to get into it. I rarely ever get into it with anybody on social media just because it's just not worth my time. I usually I will unfollow or mute or whatever. So,
Yeah,
that's my hot take.
Yeah, I think I'm to a certain extent in line with that. I think that it's heavily taken out of context by the people that are looking at it. I like Jimmy said, there was no correlation between the sexual assault stuff and what he tweeted to any extent besides the fact that he used Twit longer. But Twit longer has been used for decades for different reasons, right? For any time that anyone wants to tweet something that's longer. And I have personally, not just in the streaming community, but I've personally seen this sort of bait and switch happen constantly. It's a typical joke, right? Where you make people feel like there's more context required, so they click on something to read it, and all of a sudden it's a picture or something else. And in this case, he just said he was actually making a joke towards Tim because he hadn't gotten a win yet in Fall Guys. So it feels pretty like it's a very far stretch for me to even understand why someone would want to immediately jump to a conclusion when they're clicking on a twit longer, to feel like, because the expectation is clearly from these people that are mad that they felt that there was going to be some sort of response to sexual allegations, or maybe potentially something within the thing with Harris Heller's dad. I didn't even know that there was a correlation there. I actually don't really care that much. Like, I've seen Harris's videos. I've seen some other content creators on YouTube that are creating content specifically for streamers. I think that they all have some pretty good content. They all have some, stuff that might not be certain about, but I'm not like religiously following any of these people. They're not like important parts of my life. I'm not fans of any of these people. I think they create content, and that's great. But I feel like it's a really far stretch to try to draw association between the sexual assault claims that were using Twit longer to deliver the message, with what Harris tweeted, where he was literally trying to bait you into clicking on this Twit longer. And it says a lot more about the people that are reacting in the way where they had expectations of sexual assault or something like that, than it does on Harris for making the tweet. And I honestly don't think that he needs to apologize, right? Like, I feel like in most cases, there's always a better thing that you could respond with when you hurt someone's feelings. There's always a more appropriate approach, more PC approach of responding to criticism or whatever it is. But I think in this case, if this was me and people started, they were outraging because I tweeted something that they personally took out of context. It wasn't even the content of my post to any respect, but the context that was applied to it from the peer. I wouldn't feel guilty of that. And I feel like in this day and age, and people on Twitter, they read something and they take it out of context. The onus is on them for taking it out of context, the viewer. But they are so unwilling to admit that they're demanding someone on Twitter that tweeted this apologize to them because they took this thing out of context and didn't realize what they were reading. But they're so afraid of accepting their own guilt that they feel that the other person has to respond and apologize. And I feel like it speaks a lot more to the people that are demanding that than it does to Harris for making a silly joke that at the end of the day it was a stupid, simple tweet. There's no correlation between this and the people that use Twit longer to type up their the allegations for sexual assault or their stories. It's just ridiculous to me. That's what I took from it. I didn't even really care about it. But I was blown up on Twitter with like 600 messages about this, and I was like, okay, let me look into this. And I realized there was nothing to it. And it seemed to me that the people that were the loudest were the people that either are hunting down Harris for this situation with his dad. 50 grand over 2 years, man, you got to get paid more than that, my dude. Like if I could preach anything to you, Harris, you got to get paid more for your work than 50 grand in 2 years. That's crazy, man.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, that's it.
You just brought up a great point, which I wanted to ask Jimmy. Jimmy, do you think that he should have apologized?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I think not, and it wouldn't have to be like it's just how I would have handled it. If I knew that I posted something that made people feel a certain way or offended or had done something, I would naturally just want to, that's just my personality. Like if I know that somebody felt hurt or outraged by something that I said or tweeted about that wasn't my intention, I would immediately respond with, "Hey, look, this is not how I felt. I understand why you feel this way, and I apologize. It's not what that was 100% not my intention." And I feel like that would be the end of it. But that's me. I mean, that's how I would handle it.
Right.
And that's just, if you'd asked me that same thing 10 years ago, maybe not. But now I have learned, after one of the best ways, one of the reasons why my wife and I are so happy is because I'm always willing to say I'm sorry. And I say it a lot. I do, man. I'm always the one that's fucking up. Like, it's always me and never her.
Yeah.
And I feel like I married up big time. And the only reason she keeps me around is because she knows that I actually, I care. And I don't try and be dumb, but I'm a man and I do stupid things a lot of the time. And, that's just the way. It's easier for me, even if I don't really feel that sorry. I'm not saying I'm not being genuine, but I can, what I'm trying to say is I can put myself in the other person's shoes. You know what I mean? I try and do that. And I say, even though I didn't see it this way, I can understand how you might have seen it this way. And I am sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So,
Yeah.
So that's my point. And I'm glad that you said that you would apologize, because my point to that is, well, Jimmy, that wasn't a good enough apology. And then you
sorry.
Exactly. Right. Sorry.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that's kind of where I have an issue too, with people having to apologize for the way that something was received by a very small percentage of the population. Because, then when are you ever going to not have to apologize? You're always, always, always going to have to apologize for something. You're never going to have to appease anyone. And you're never going to be able to stand for something that you actually, believe in. You're always going to have to apologize to appease the other side. And
it's
that
not
bugs me.
always apologizing to appease, I don't think. I think it just depends on the situation. In this particular situation, because it was so close to the sexual harassment thing, I think that's why this whole thing even started. Even though, like you said, there's no correlation, it's still, there's enough of a correlation because it's the method of delivery for delivering this joke. And in that sense,
But then anyone that uses Twit longer should have to apologize to.
I'm not
Right?
saying you should. No.
Right.
I'm just saying this is a special situation. If this had happened on my Twitter account, it would have never happened. On your Twitter account, this would have never happened. It's because it's a large Twitter account. He has a large influence. And because so many people are going to see that, you have to be careful. You know what I mean? If you have that large of an audience, you really have to be careful of what more careful than usual, I think, of what you put out there. And that's one of the reasons why, companies, they spend a lot of money on brand marketing for their Twitter accounts. Some do better than others, obviously, but they spend big bucks on that because they don't want to necessarily, they want something that's going to be funny and clickable, but also hopefully not going to be offending a bunch of people. It's not the easiest thing to do in the world,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think Knackers, do you have a bigger point to go on or not? Really?
I have a second kind of point, very much regarding to.
Can I preface it with what his tweet was, and I'll read the tweet out. What Harris's
Absolutely.
tweet was. Okay. So following all of the first tweet said, "I've been afraid to come clean about this. Please don't think less of me." Read, then the twit longer link. Then in response, after not everyone, but a small subset of people started getting offended, he said, "I think the pandemic has made us lose part of our humanity. People are so quick to jump down each other's throats and say say things we'd never say in person. We've forgotten that. Just be kind and assume the best in people you don't know." And I feel like, as far as the best way that I would correlate this is like, in Portland, if I wore a hat that had it was a red hat, right? And someone yelled at me and they're like, "Hey, fuck you, MAGA supporter," and the hat was like a Billabong hat, right? And they're like,
Billabong.
Yeah, it's like some Billabong hat, and they're like, "Oh, well, I thought that was a Trump hat. Like, why are you wearing a red hat?" And it's like, listen, you were offended based on a presumption that it was something that it wasn't, and now it's and you're asking me to apologize for that because you felt offended by something that wasn't even real. I feel like there's a set of responsibility on both sides, right? And this kind of goes to what Jimmy's saying. Like, there's always a better way to respond to this. Like, you can go the super political route and just, be like, "Hey, I'm really sorry about anyone that this offended. I apologize. I hope that, you don't think less of me, blah, blah, blah," or go into more detail. I always think that there's a more political route with any response. But I think at the same time, in our generation, like, people like this on Twitch, there are these Twitch coaches or these people that are trying to help people become content creators. What is one thing that they're always preaching? Be genuine, be yourself, like, let that come through. And if people don't like it, too fucking bad. Like, you shouldn't have to formulate who you are for an audience that you don't even care about, right? And I feel that way genuinely, but at the same time, if you're being offended by something that isn't even necessarily wasn't the approach that the actual author was taking, or what wasn't even the content that you're looking at, like what I mentioned with like wearing a red hat in Portland that was a Billabong and someone thought it was a MAGA hat, like, you have to realize, as being that person that is offended, that there's a bit of responsibility on your shoulders as well. And maybe you're the person that should apologize to the person that you're criticizing because you're taking something completely out of context. And maybe the other person should be like, "Yeah, you know what? It's a political climate. Maybe wearing a red hat isn't the best idea bound around a bunch of people that are offended by that." That's my 2 cents. I think that he's being genuine in his response. I think that people that don't like his response, it's kind of like, okay, that's great. But then look at your own behavior on Twitter and see you're freaking out about this situation and trying to get a militia together to burn down Harris Heller's YouTube channel. It's like, dude, you're being way more irate and offensive than this person ever was in any of the content that he posted. And you're doing it with the idea that you're like supporting some great cause, when literally the context in the clip and whatever was presented has nothing to do with what you're trying to correlate it with, But I also agree with Jimmy. Like, you have to read your room a little bit. But when you have a huge audience, it's not like you can just like look at your audience and be like, "Hey guys, is this a good post? Like, you guys like this picture? Can we get a approval?"
No, you're. I think the point I was trying to make, and I'm probably a bad person to ask, because the truth is, I'm not. Most of the year I'm working, except when I'm on summer break, and I'm terrible at social media. I'm not that good at Twitter or Instagram. I'm just not. So I miss all kinds of shit on there on social media. I just miss it. And these arguments, like, I rarely go into like comment threads and anything like that. So the truth is, I guess for me, I'm ignorant to a lot of the stuff that goes on in there because I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm just like, whatever. I think I do think that it's a little bit of both sides in this particular situation, Knackers. I think on his side, he probably could have read the room a little better. But on the other side, are you really going to get offended over something that you thought was something that it actually wasn't? I mean, it is both. You really have to take a look at internally of how you're looking at these sort of things. And this begs the argument, too, why too much social media can sometimes be a bad thing. Yes. Especially in the COVID era. Like, I had to like limit my social media news time after about a month after COVID started because it was wrecking my mental health, man.
Yeah. All the phone alerts, like the Apple News alerts, and then the like the Amber Alert style alerts on the phone. It's like, holy fuck, I am over encumbered. Okay, so I appreciate both of your perspective. This segment was kind of one of those, am I fucked up? Because I wanted to know, because I know how you feel about social media, Jimmy, and I know how I kind of feel about social media, and I have this weird little obligation flame that lives inside of me that like I feel like I want to be a part of it a little bit because I want to be aware of what's going on. And I've never really been able to like extinguish that. And it's never to the point where it's a detriment to my life or my well-being, right? Where I'm so consumed by everything that's going on. But I definitely have a little bit of a burn inside of me. Like, no, this is something that you need to voice how you feel. Like, this is something that you need to talk about. So that's kind of one of the main reasons that I bring it up, is because for some reason it's something that kind of hits home for me, because I know that one day I'm going to say something fucking stupid. And I want to be able to have a conversation to look back.
Dude, that time's already come. It just hasn't been blasted all over social media because you don't have the huge following. But
exactly.
You know, once you do blow up, trust me, I got all kinds of shit in the archives.
Fuck. So that kind of goes into the second part, and like a real quick, like apologies never matter sort of point is he was on Twitter, made the post that Bishop read out, and then he had like a 25 minute live stream where you could see that he was having borderline a panic attack. And he apologized over and over, but of course, like one of the main responses of like, well, of course you go live on your channel where everybody's a supporter of you and you don't apologize on Twitter. It's like, okay, so like how many different social media platforms do I need to orchestrate a fucking apology for to appease all of the people that might have taken this the wrong way? And like, that's just fucking exhausting in itself.
Sure.
And that makes me want to quit streaming and walk away from the internet forever. But I digress. The whole second part of this was watching some well-respected people within the community try to pull his relationship to his father and their political views and bring them down because of that. That, I think, is what kind of irked me the most about all of it, was seeing somebody like Harris, who has done nothing but create an immeasurable amount of free content for people and to genuinely try and help people and look out for people's best interest, and then to have their name dragged through the mud, and then their father's name dragged through the mud. Would you guys consider doing some work for your dad, who has some very, very obtuse political beliefs? Do you see that as being a bad judgment call? Or do you see that as, I just helped out my dad, my blood?
Well,
I think as a guy that has done a bunch of work in the past for different characters, I think it depends, right? Like, you have to have some sort of moral compass as far as, you know, like, I'm not going to go and make a documentary film about a bunch of political things, right? About, you know, whether or not abortion's right or something like that, right? If I believed on the opposite side. But I think that as a professional, I have worked and I've worked in live production. I've worked in content production in the past professionally. I've shot commercials, done a bunch of shit.
Content production. So have I stream on twitch.tv, MiddleAgedStream, you son of a bitch.
I think that the different characters that I've worked for, like I've shot or produced events for Safari Land when like NRA people are there, right? And then I've done stuff with people that are humanitarians and shooting the content. I think that you have to separate yourself personally from the people that you're working with, but I think you also have to have a certain moral standard. Like, I'm not going to go work with a church that's saying that they hate gay people. Like, I'm never going to work for a company like that. But I think that there's like, you have to straddle the line and then realize that there's a difference between your business life and your personal life. And I feel like the people that are most judgmental don't have the capacity to do that, right? They don't understand the capacity to remove yourself from your personal life, or remove your personal life from your business life. But like I said, you have to have some sort of moral compass. Typically, companies have a moral compass, but it's usually generated by whatever Twitter's saying. Realistically, like they might have the individuals in the business might have a certain belief, but then on Twitter they're saying the complete opposite. And that's just the kind of the way it is. Most companies try to do things that appease the majority. And if you're an employee of a company, you also have to fall into those rule sets. But I don't know what his dad's like, what he's about, but I think that there has to be some sort of separation between your business and your work life, and it's really hard to do that. I would assume, especially if that's who his dad is, right? So
I look at it from a realistic perspective of I'm a person that is trying to make a life for myself in the entertainment Hollywood world. It's slim pickings all around. I probably have a shit ton of student loan debt, and I have a father that I love, right?
Yeah.
So if I have an opportunity to help my dad, my blood, somebody that I love, and I'm in debt, what is the average logical person going to do? Oh, an extra $25K a year to help your own blood with a project? Yeah, you don't necessarily really agree with some of their political views, but what is the average person going to do? They're going to fucking take that job. All of the people that go, oh, well, no, my morals would have stood tall. I would have said, Dad, sorry, can't help you. You're anti-abortion. Sorry, got to walk away from that 25 G's. Oh, it's 25 G's in a field that I'm already training for. This is shit that I know and I can do easy and I can help somebody out. Like, yes. In a perfect world where you have a job and you have a car that's paid off for and you have a house, that has a roof that doesn't leak. Yeah, you can say, you know what? No, my morals are gonna stand tall in this one. But for 90% of the people, like, let's not be fucking standing on a pedestal saying like, oh no, none of us would have taken that money. I kind of I applaud him for even admitting like, I love my dad. We do not see eye to eye, but my dad's a great fucking person. And nobody can tell me otherwise because none of you know my fucking dad.
Yeah.
And so I definitely appreciate him taking that stand because look at me. I couldn't have more opposing beliefs than my families. My families, family one, family two, of how religious they are and how different they see the world. That doesn't mean when my dad calls me up and said, hey, I need your help for a day, that I'm like, sorry, Dad. You and God and me and God, different stories, dude, couldn't do it. And I think that was another one of my big issues was seeing how many people were quick to absolutely decimate another person based on how they assisted their blood. And that kind of really bugged me.
That honestly, and the truth is, man, like there's just gonna be people out there, and you, the loudest ones get the most amplified usually, and that's not the common belief. I don't think the majority of people think. I don't think that I seriously doubt that he has anything to really worry about with this.
No,
it's a hiccup. I'll look at it like the small scale. The story I told you guys last week, where I accidentally said tits instead of tips to a female streamer that I look up to, and how I was super embarrassed and I apologized, whatever, and she was super cool about it. And I think maybe in his case, or why he even thought to apologize, is I don't think he wants people to get the wrong impression about him either. I can only assume, but I give you credit, or I give him credit also for what you just mentioned. I mean, he stands for what he believes in, and I wouldn't have handled it the same way. But I don't discredit him necessarily for handling it the way he did. Everyone's different. Everyone's got their own situation, and I know nothing like his situation, and I'm not even in that, so I can't judge him. But this is a 39-year-old man talking who's made a lot of dumb mistakes, and if you had asked me the same question 10 years ago, I probably would have had a totally different response.
Yeah, your mistakes have happened off camera already. This isn't fair.
Yeah, so this is I think this is much ado about nothing. It's unfortunate that these things happen, but they do, and they happen in all facets. Particularly, social media can really amplify something that's maybe not such a big deal into a huge deal in a very short period of time.
And there were some people that were very passionate about it, like very passionate about this whole thing, which was like surprising to me. It's like, okay, this is what you're gonna spend your time on. I think it's realistically, I agree with Jimmy. It's like this is kind of a nothing burger. It's kind of one of those things like, hey, listen, just move on. Let's apologize both. Like let's realize what the responsibility is here. Harris Society needs to understand that maybe
it wouldn't
this was
even be a thing if it wasn't for just his own reach on social media.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the other thing, right, to go back to my point, like we're talking about like a political candidate. We're not talking about like a guy that's producing content for ISIS. You know what I mean? Like there's a large differentiation. If you're going to villainize someone that is
Wait, you
producing
guys aren't making hype videos for ISIS?
Oh,
They pay good.
Yeah, they're buying all my clips off Twitch.
They pay real good.
Yeah, they pay real good. But it's like you have to have some sort of concept, right? If you are villainizing someone for producing content for a conservative person that's in their family, and then on the flip side, you're posting on Facebook for your, for someone that wants to become like a processor in your town and you're liberal, like you have to have some sort of consistency and realize that you're doing the same thing to an extent. You're sharing things on Facebook or Twitter that are politically charged, and it's the exact same sort of situation. Like you are as much of a help to a political campaign by sharing things as someone is by producing the content, right? I just think it's like you have to have some sort of concept. Like, listen, it's not ISIS. The guy's maybe you don't agree with the guy's views, but I think, and I don't know this. I haven't watched much of Harris's content, but if he came out and he addressed it and he said, hey, like I don't agree with my dad. I mean, I think he's done enough already. Like you can work for someone and not have the same morals as them, and then take that money and use it for good. I know some people that have done some things like that.
I think, and this is totally like, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't matter, but it's just something that I want to voice. I think, I follow a lot of people that preach empathy and compassion and love and acceptance. And then to see so many of those people turn around and tear somebody down for nothing, I think that kind of bummed me out too. And I try and not base my opinion of somebody off of how they act on social media. But at the same time, if you act a certain way on social media all the time, you can have a certain type of glimpse into a person's personality a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit. And I think another reason why I got bummed out is to see that flip so fast, to see people that I really like looked up to just kind of flip and be like, no, his dad's a Republican, canceled. Like, Stream Beats, like tweeting that everybody needs to remove Stream Beats from their streams because of Harris Heller's dad's a fucking Republican. It's like, calm down. Jesus Christ. And I think this is definitely one of those times where I got overinvested emotionally, and I just got bummed out afterwards, So I'll admit that.
If anyone in the world looked at their parents 30 years ago, right, back when they were in their 20s, and looked at what sort of things that they were interested in back then, or their political beliefs, or what they believed, especially with our previous generation, what our parents thought about gay marriage, about the things that have, like, in our generation have come to fruition, you'd probably be pretty surprised. Even if your parents are less conservative nowadays, you probably realize that they, like, they may have been way more religious than you actually realized. You may have you don't. I think you have to look at internally and look at your own family before you can judge someone else. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think many people would be surprised of the actions of their ancestors, like the past two generations, or not necessarily the actions, but their beliefs. And I'm sure we all have a crazy fucking aunt or grandmother or something like that has some crazy thought processes.
I'm gonna jump in and say something only because I saw it in chat. And it was Hell who just said, I don't think we should shred him, but when he went after abuse victims who pointed out his joke was insensitive, I was pretty upset with him. So I can only assume that perhaps some of his responses to those comments were probably maybe less than sensitive, and that might have been the catalyst for the ire that he drew to himself.
I would have to see what those tweets are,
sure,
because I went through a lot of that, and I don't think going after the abuse victims is necessarily accurate, but I think insensitive is probably on point at that time. So yeah, and I can definitely see that. I understand. I've never said this on the stream before. I've been sexually assaulted multiple times, 3 times actually, and I have always been around people where that has been something as well. So I understand. Like, I want people to know that I'm not just like, this dude has never had any experience with sexual assault or never been involved with other people where that's been like a huge issue. Like, I get it. I've been in it. I know. And so I don't necessarily want people to get the right idea either, but I just felt like there was a lot to unpack, and there is a lot that I just wanted to talk about and really to get your guys' opinion. So I appreciate you guys giving your perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading through Harris's, just to follow up on that, I'm reading through his responses, and I don't really see him berating anyone that was responding to him. And I can quote him. He said, if someone had come to me and said, hey, it probably wasn't intentional, but your tweet could be painful, it'd be a very different conversation. Instead, a tweet that was meant to be fun and lighthearted has caused 100 people to come forward and tell me to kill myself. It has been fun. So... And that's like, I'm going through his responses, unless he went through and deleted the critical ones. It's just, I don't know. I don't think that from what I can see, and I didn't see it the same day because I wasn't really that invested until I
think at the end of the day, the point is, it's just people. You gotta be. If you have a large audience, you got to be even that much more careful. Man.
Yep.
I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. I don't have that kind of audience, and so a lot of the shit posting that I really don't post anything controversial usually anyway. But I do a lot of shit posting, and that's why I haven't grown a whole lot on any social media platform. But if that was my thing, and maybe growing a social media account was something that I was really into doing, and I know there's ways to do that, but I just, I don't know. It's not important to me, and I feel like people make way too big of a deal the stuff that happens virtually, and that really has no bearing on their life at all, just for the sake of getting upset. And I know that wasn't everyone, and I'm sure that some of his words did legitimately trigger some people and make them upset.
Absolutely.
I'm not doubting that at all. But what I am saying is that if it wasn't the intention, even as perhaps poor-sighted as it was for him to post it, why do we have to spend all this time on this sort of thing? And it goes in. I mean, it ties right into this cancel culture of 2020 and everything. And I mean, shit, that's what got me worried about the fucking comment I made streaming accidentally. Because if someone takes that out of context, they're like, "Oh, it's Ruby." This is
Speaking
what
of
we need
controversial,
right now.
fuck dogs.
Down.
You know what? Can we just say that dogs are just the worst?
We don't deserve them. Oh,
we really don't.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't. Oh my god,
so
look
pretty.
at her. Oh my god.
Oh, Ruby.
Well, with that, you guys want to just dilly-dally right into the question and answer?
Let's do it, buddy.
Yeah. Let's
Cool.
Do it.
Only got a few here. First one from Big Ben. How much of a badass is Jimbles for beating Battletoads?
A badass bitch. It took him a month,
Badass.
but he is one badass bitch right there.
Yep.
I have to say, beating Battletoads for the NES is one of my greatest gaming achievements in my entire life. And I it's got to be. I was beaming, even though I was tired as fuck Friday. I was at work, and it was like the greatest day.
Oh yeah, dude, I bet.
I was just like, oh man, I beat Battletoads. But it's like I couldn't tell anybody at work because they would have been like, "What? Who?"
Right.
I
We're like, we did that back in the '80s, brother.
I don't fucking know.
Is that what you've done with your free time during quarantine? Playing video games?
Playing them video games.
I started a Facebook group and I've got over 18 people in there, and we all know what the truth is with the COVID virus.
It's all a sham. All right, next question, and actually our last question. What is your take on? I don't know how to pronounce this name. Ogilvy marketing company donating $5 to streamers with text-to-speech, listing Burger King products, and turning those clips into an advertisement video without letting streamers know. First of all, I don't believe that any of those clips were of actual streamers.
Is this what? This is what BBR retweeted, right? I
actually don't know.
Yeah. I think they were fake streamers too.
Yeah.
I think they were they just made it look like Twitch. I don't think they were actual streamers.
Is anyone an actual
You bring up a
streamer?
good point, though. But, I'm not an actual streamer. You bring up a good point. Do you see companies donating and somewhat advertising in tips. Excuse me, tips, not donations. Do you find that as scummy?
I mean, people do that shit all the time with like streamers do it.
But
Like-
do streamers ever donate with saying, "Hey, by the way, I love your stream. Come check me out on my stream when I'm live."
I've seen that shit. I've seen that shit.
But that's scummy. But people are comparing streamers donating to streamers the same as Burger King tipping and saying like it's 2 for $5 at Burger King with a Mountain Dew. Like, okay, there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
I think that the activation in the first place shows how far out of touch that agency is. And if I was Burger King, I would look at that and be like, wow, you guys fucking suck at your job. Let's find someone. Burger King, hit me up. I can give you a great presentation of how you can actually interact with Twitch streamers. And that ain't it, brother. I think that if it's within context, like I know that when I was working at VRX, which is like a simulator company, they're a racing sim company, Dr. Disrespect was looking for a racing sim. And within context, I donated myself, so then he would look at the website so he could see the sim. And I said like, hey, whatever you want, we can hook you up with that. And I think if it's within context, it's okay. But this whole thing that ended up coming out was so awkward and weird, and like it didn't feel like streaming, but it was trying to be streaming. It was like someone that was like, hey, I'm a professional esports guy. Like if you go on LinkedIn right now, chat, and you guys look into esports, it is the biggest joke. There's so many people that say that they're a part of esports and they have no fucking clue what they're doing at all, or they're developing something that has nothing to do with gaming at all, and they're trying to be involved because right now the multiple for esports companies that are coming up for getting funding is like 50x. So everyone's trying to pretend like they're in esports. So I think that what's happening is that Burger King found this agency. They're like, oh yeah, we know exactly what streaming is. We know exactly what esports is. Burger King may have gone to 100 Thieves, and 100 Thieves is like, hey, we'll take like 1.2 mil. And they're like, okay, these guys wanted 500K to do this. We'll just pass the money their way. I don't know if the streamers are real. They didn't seem very real to me, but there's also a million streamers that stream on the platform every month. So there could be, I think it was 1 million. It might be more, or it's 3 million. There's some number. We'll go back to the last podcast.
It was a number. It was definitely a number.
Yeah.
5 million go live a month.
So if it's 5 million a month, maybe they found like some streamers that, there's it could possibly be real.
All the overlays looked super generic. I couldn't even recognize the games some of them were playing either.
They were
like,
all fake. So
I feel like it was fake.
I think so that there's one of two things that could have happened. They didn't have licensing rights to use the games inside of an advertisement, so they had to trim the cameras out of the streams, and then they recomposed them with some guy that just figured out how to use After Effects, and then they made overlays. And like they said, hey, go watch Twitch for a little bit and figure out what this is all. And maybe they went to DLive or some other website or Mixer, and they're like, hey, there's nothing here. Let's just, we'll just use something that we saw of Zoom. So I think that's what happened. They didn't have the rights for the game. If the streamers are real, so they replaced the gameplay in the background with some like generic copycat looking bullshit. Or it was completely faked and not even the streamers are real. If they were real, I feel like it's a little bit of a breach of trust. If Burger King went onto Twitch, captured some players playing a game, recorded them, used them in an ad, because they wouldn't own that content, Twitch would own that content. And if that webcam was actually from a Twitch stream and I was Twitch, I'd be like, well, you guys could have just activated through us, and instead you went through this shambles of a shithole agency, and now you basically got a piece of garbage. That's my take on it. It seems really, really bad. I could point, if the Burger King called me tomorrow, I could point you in the direction of like 5 agencies that for $100,000 could have done that job a million times better. Like that, it was the worst activation I've ever seen in my entire life.
Talk about not reading the room.
Yeah. Not knowing where the room was in the first place. I think like they didn't even know what streaming was going
into. It's fucking Burger King, man. They've always been, they're like Pepsi to Coke though. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. Like they're always second fiddle. I mean, they make money. I mean, people are eating it, but they have contract with the Department of Defense. That's why the last time I ate at a Burger King was when I was still in the military. Because they have them at like every fucking military installation because there's a contract they have with the DOD. So
good old military contracts, brother.
It's like, when you go to a restaurant and you're like, hey, can I have a Coke? And they're like, oh, we have Pepsi. And you're like, oh, I guess I'll just have water.
Yeah.
You know,
All right, I'm just gonna go next door. This place
Can I have
sucks.
a cup of ice, please? So I can just suck on frozen water instead of drinking Pepsi?
That's kind of how I feel about Burger King.
Yeah.
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 I definitely think out of context, it's pretty scummy. Like when you have these streamers that have massive audiences, and people tried making the comparison between like Hollywood and streamers. Nowhere in the middle of a TV show can another company pay to have their brand name pop up on that content. You can't even have certain name brands in your pre-recorded content. Like you can't have a Dell PC or an Apple iPhone without paying those fucking royalties first. So there's definitely a little bit of a gray area. And because like this live streaming thing is so new, the fact that any company, you know, can just go and donate money, have their name pop up on screen, not only just having it pop up on screen, if it's a large enough amount, you can have that streamer unconsciously say your name over and over and over and over again. Oh my God, Coke Gaming, you're so amazing. Thank you so much for this donation, dude.
Give me that fucking Coke.
Yeah. How did you know that I have this refrigerator full of Coke? All of this Coke. Oh my God.
Oh my God, there's a package on my front door right now, and it's in my room.
all over me. Ah.
People's time when they're live streaming, especially when they have a sizable audience, is very, very, very valuable. So when you're somebody like, fucking Dr. Disrespect, you've got 20, 30, 80,000 people watching, and then you've got somebody that can just donate and have all it takes. It's about attention span, and it's about living in your brain rent-free. All Coke Gaming has to do is make a couple donations to get people thinking about Coke. Think about the last time they had a Coke. Think about their favorite Coke flavors. And that
When was the last time you had a Coke in your mouth?
Yeah, L_, Coca-Cola, L_. You know that?
That's the new Coke ads campaign. Hey, when's the last time you had a Coke in your mouth?
Yeah, shove this Coke down your throat. Hey, you know what, Knackers? So you were saying don't donate if you're a company to streamers to do ads because it's coming. No. Go to Jimmy's stream. Just $1,000. Just give it $1,000. That's a cheap little investment. We'll tell all of our viewers to drink Coca-Cola. You know, just a couple $1,000. You know, just every time I go live, just donate $1,000, and
there you go.
And yeah, that would be great.
Start raffling off your Go XLR sound buttons. Like how much to get Knackers TV as a
Man, I'll fucking throw it out there. Yo, you want some of this?
Cool.
You want some of this? Yo, that's gonna cost you about $500 right now.
That's what I
Cold
like.
hard cash. I'll put you in my fucking stream, my shit.
It'll be in there. I might not push it. I might accidentally push it while I'm trying to get to another one.
Yeah, it'll be in there. Give me them fucking dollar bills, man. Dollar bills.
So that's definitely, I think, when Bishop, you brought up a good point of it being within context, like, and there's people that do that all the time, right? Like when a streamer is talking about a certain subject and then somebody in chat knows, like Summit1G has met people that way, being like, dude, I don't know how to set up mods for Morrowind. And then somebody's like, yo,
boom.
I know a shit ton about mods. All of a sudden they're talking, now they're playing together, and now they're getting the trickle down effect from Summit's community over there. Like, it's a real thing. And streamers are all fighting for attention. And now that these companies know where the attention lies, they're trying to fight for it too. But it's not coming off great. Like, well, let's see when a company does it fucking right. Like, holy hell.
Well, it's the biggest difference here, and this is like a core fundamental thing when you're doing good marketing and not dog shit marketing, is providing value and not being a scumbag. Like if I was Burger King and I really wanted to do this properly, I would go into Shroud or Summit or one of these big streams, and I would be like, hey, everyone that's in the stream, if you go and order off of Grubhub right now and use this Burger King checkout code, we'll take 50% off the order. Go now. Right? Like that would be a great activation because you're providing value. Provide value to the customer, not you don't want to be like, okay, guys, by the way, our Burger King 2 for $5 deal is only $6. Like, come to our store. We know that there's 10,000 of you guys. Just come to our store and we can make some money. It's like, no, give them something, like provide value. And I think Wendy's does a really good job on Twitch. If you guys have ever taken a look at them.
Yes.
I love Wendy's. Like, I bought Wendy's because I've watched Wendy's stream. And it's
I
because
wish my wife liked Wendy's. She hates Wendy's. I can never get fucking Wendy's.
She doesn't. She hates the beef and the chicken.
She doesn't like Wendy's.
That's fair. I think their fries are pretty under par.
Yeah.
They've got, I don't know where they get their syrup from, but it's tier 2 to where McDonald's gets their syrup from for their colas and their sodas and their pops.
Yeah.
But
their burgers are good. Like their junior bacon cheeseburger. I used to live off those, man.
tier
decent.
1 marketing, tier 2 burgers. Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that's good.
the
That's
same
pretty
thing
good.
with I'm trying to think of. There's another very prominent game out there who just has an amazing person that runs their social media. Fall Guys is another
Fall
great
Guys,
example of people that know how to run social media. But yeah, I mean, Wendy's has the perfect, like, smart, sassy, informed person that's just going around and shitting on people. It's fantastic.
Yeah, fuck them, dude. I think that's a better approach almost than being the guys that are constantly apologetic. You know what I mean? I feel like you obtain more respect when you're constantly shitting on people. You know, not
Right.
shitting on them, but like making it funny or making it interesting, and not just like your typical
Dr.
company that's
Disrespect.
just getting like look. I found this the other day. If you search UPS on Twitter, you're gonna be reading the most annoying. Like if you were the social media manager for UPS, literally every tweet that you're receiving is like people complaining about their orders not showing up.
Yes.
It's so annoying, and that's probably 24/7. It's 24/7. I think as a company, like there's no value at that point for you to actually have social media. You're just it's a customer service plugin, you know.
Yep. 100%. All right, my dudes. I think that is a wonderful place to end. I just want to give a huge thank you to everybody in chat. When we have these more sensitive topics, I do tend to have chat up, and I peek over every once in a while because I like to read the room. I like to see like kind of what we're working with, and
Wait, this is live?
It's live, dude.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
That recording you started on Audacity. That's just
Dude,
that's
wait,
the
I'm
backup.
canceling. I'm stopping it.
The reason that I like having these types of conversations, for one, obviously, is to get the perspective and the opinion of my co-hosts here because they're both best friends and I respect their opinion.
We're
At the
best
same
friends.
time,
Jimmy and I are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have guessed. On top of that, I'm very much interested in getting the perspectives and opinions of people in the chat, and that's why when we have these topics, I like to look at chat a little bit, and sometimes we'll bounce off things that we see. Please know that my DMs are always open. If you have a topic that rubbed you the wrong way, or if you maybe have some additional value or a perspective that you can shoot my way, there's an email called podcast@knackers.com, knackers with 3 A's. If you just want to share your opinion, share your side, the email is always open. I love reading what people have to say. We don't know all. We're just 3 dudes that happen to be on camera and live. And there's obviously always going to be other ways to approach certain topics. So please know that I am always open to criticism. I'm always open to hear what you have to say. So if you have the balls,
Yeah,
please.
come bring him, brother. We're coming at you. We'll take it
please
right
share.
to the email, brother.
Yeah. I'm always open to that stuff. And I think over the course of this podcast over the past 4 years, for the vast majority, we have always had a very open-minded and understanding community. Like when I see the chat, when we're having these types of discussions, I am always very, very pleased. I'm always very proud of how people treat each other during these types of discussions. And it makes me feel proud. It makes me feel like we've built a place where we can have these types of discussions without just absolutely shitting on each other. So that
A lot of
brings
shit talk. This podcast. A lot of shitting on people. This is like we're fetishizing that shit on people situation.
Yeah, I mean it's fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever pooped on anything other than porcelain? It's great.
You know, on a golf
Many times.
on
Many
a golf
times.
on a golf course, there's these things that wash the balls. You put the ball in it, and it dunks down in the water.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was like 12. My brother shit on a piece of paper and put it in the golf ball washer, and yeah, this was some time ago. So rip the guy that had to clean that. Feels bad.
It wasn't a shit story, but when I was a kid, my friends and I, we used to go to the my friend Aaron lived next to this country club golf course. And we used to go ride our bikes to the golf course, and we'd hide in the wood line next to like the 17th hole. And we would put firecrackers in the hole. Like we'd see, like you couldn't see from over the ridge line. We'd see balls go in the hole, and we go drop some firecrackers with a little candle taped to them, a birthday candle, so it's like a timer. You know what I mean? And they'd get up there and start putting on the green. All of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Oh man, I got chased off that golf course a couple times.
Yep. Good old golf. What is it with golf courses that just like attract adolescent men to fuck with old people? Like there's something about it that it's just. My brother and I, we live right next to a golf course, so we bought these ghillie suits, and we'd go and hide in the bush and make like cat sounds and shit while people were trying to golf. Like meow, and people would come over. Yeah.
Bird sounds?
And yeah, we'd make bird sounds.
I can't do that. It fucking hurts. I need
the
to.
rib
Can we
situation.
switch noises?
We
Can
almost
somebody-
made it through a whole podcast without that. Oh my god.
Not
Yeah.
bad. Not bad.
Almost.
squeeze it
Almost. Yeah.
Well, what we'd like to do is go around the room, have everybody announce their social media, where you guys can find them online, what sort of special events they have coming up soon, and then we'll close this bitch down.
I am BishopGP, aka Elliot Bishop. You can find me on Twitter at BishopWasHere, on Twitch at BishopGP, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right, cool story. My name is Jimmy, aka MiddleAgedStream. You can find me at MiddleAgedStream on Twitch and Instagram, MiddleAgedStream on Twitter. This week I've got to finish up some charity redemptions. So I'm playing Celeste on Tuesday, which I rage quit playing that game the only other time I played it a couple years ago. So that'll be fun. And then I'm playing a stream of Observer, which is supposed to be like a thriller type game this week also. And then I will be revealing my next retro challenge by this weekend. And I'm planning on starting that on Saturday.
Battletoads 2.
Not Battletoads 2, but it'll be another
GameStop
challenge.
edition.
Okay? It'll be another retro challenge. That'll be coming up. I need to take a few days away from challenging retro games, but I'm excited to start another one. But it's not the next game I play is not going to take me 23 days. I can tell you that. Okay?
Jimmy, do you remember the Battletoads meme where people were calling in GameStop in the early thousands asking for Battletoads? It would be amazing if GameStop turned that around on people, and every time someone called, they're like, "Hey, have you heard about the new Battletoads?" And just like flip that completely on people and just talk their ear off. That would be like the greatest marketing scheme.
It would, but the CEOs
They're so
would be like, "Oh, you
fucking
can't
tone
upset the
deaf.
customers."
Yeah, the customer's gonna be so angry.
God. My name is Knackers. You guys can find me on this very Twitch channel or on Twitter and Instagram at Knackers with 3 A's. I am, just as a reminder, no longer streaming on the evenings during the week. I pretty much only stream during the weekends. Jimmy, did you say your streaming schedule? I don't know if you actually said it or not.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we will be back. Actually, I haven't announced this yet. Next Sunday is a tech/streaming Q&A. It's going to be myself, Epos Vox, and Ernst Blofield. The entire show is just going to be dedicated to answering tech questions. We're going to be discussing a lot of tech misconceptions, and it's just going to be an entire podcast around technology, probably audio, video. Look out for a post on Twitter and in Discord where you can submit submit questions to be answered by all of us or just Epos Vox because he's the smartest. But I am super looking forward to. We actually have podcasts scheduled for the next 5 weeks. So next week will be Epos Vox and Ernst, and then in 2 weeks it will be MiddleAgedStream and BishopGP. And then we're probably going to look at adding one person to our show every once in a while, and that's something that we're looking forward to as well. So again, thank you everybody to absolutely everybody that was here. For all of you listening to the future, thank you for giving us a chance to voice our opinions. And like I said, the email is always open if you want to share yours. Thank you guys for giving us a place to voice those. So you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend for as much as you have left. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, motherfuckers!
It's working. Oh my!
It worked. It
worked.
did work.
Dog.
What'd you do?
I don't know. I guess I fixed it.
Nice.
Motherfucker!
Oh,
There it goes.
Oh, it's gone again.
God
Damn.
damn it.
Peak
all right,
limiter?
good night.
Question mark. Later.
I don't know. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. If you would like to catch the show live, it airs on Twitch on my channel at twitch.tv/knackers at 9 p.m. every single Sunday. If you would like to check out the most recent episode of the podcast, you can probably click this little box here. And if you feel like checking out some of our highlights, you can maybe click this little box down here. And maybe I'll even put a little thing for you to click right here. No? Bye.